Whistler! Here he is! Say hello to first place, Zinc!
Bang, boy, go!
Just tried to put on a show, man. That's what we're here for.
Oh my God, I'm stoked to be down at the bottom in one piece. This is it, man. The big show and everyone watching.
Damn, Zinc!
I'm going up for another one.
I don't think you can ever have too much experience here.
Just like insane in my head.
I've done it before, but it's still hard every time.
From Whistler, Randy Semenuk! Are you kidding me?
If you listen closely, you can still hear the echoes of history throughout the valley here in Whistler, BC, site for the third and final stop for the 2016 Crankworx Series. It is Red Bull Joyride. Welcome everyone, no matter where you're watching in the world, we welcome you here to Whistler, BC, the virtual birthplace and of the sport. Pat Parnell, honored to be joined by pro rider, fellow commentator Cam McCall. We've been talking about it all morning. Same dirt, different riders, but they're telling a new story. How do you feel when you come here? Do you feel that atmosphere of history?
Literally my heart is pounding right now, and it's a familiar feeling. I love that picture you painted, hearing the echoes of history from all the way back to 2003, the first year that Slopestyle was born on this hill. And like you said, the dirt behind us, it's the same dirt that the course has been built out of since the sport started. So much history, and I'm sure we're going to see even more history today.
Those lucky enough that have made the pilgrimage here, they know how special Whistler is. And if you're curious, it's just nestled right in the coastal range, the west side of Canada in BC. And this place, 4,900 vertical feet, too many trails to go into. There is just a network of endless trails throughout this valley, and it's provided, like you said, so many stories, so many video parts, and you can see, talking about pilgrimage, all the crowd starting to fill in, but it's all about the Crankworx Series. This is the culmination. And it all started down in the southern hemisphere, down in Rotorua, some magical dirt and a crazy course dedicated to none other than the late Magaza.
What a great way to kick off the season earlier in the year. This was regarded as the best slopestyle contest in the history of the sport. Like you said, the Kelly McGarry built course. It's a favorite amongst the riders, and we saw the level just get amplified like we couldn't have even expected. Nikolai dropped the first 1080 in slopestyle competition. It was foreshadowing what we were going to see the rest of the season.
I think it left everyone slack-jawed, and what was even more impressive is how the riders talked about the course, how they felt, and where and how they were throwing tricks that we've never seen before.
It was emotional. It's always emotional here in Whistler, but there, having Kelly McGarry pass away earlier in the year, it was emotional to have everybody throw down so big on a course he built.
And the excitement building to a new stop on tour in Leger, France. Unfortunately, the wettest summer on record, forcing a cancellation of the slopestyle competition, but it did allow for a best trick and just a glimmer of what's possible in the sport.
Oh my gosh, that best trick contest definitely gave a glimpse into what we're going to see here in Whistler. They pulled out all the stops. They didn't have to think about linking 14 tricks together, just their best tricks. We saw Antoine Bazette there with the opposite cash roll, Nikolai landing the 1080 smoothly. It was nuts.
So it goes without saying, both of us have chicken skin at this point. You're talking about the opposite factors. What we've seen so far in practice, it's about to go down, but let's bring everyone up to speed with the standings leading into the third and final stop. Obviously, not having that second stop, full competition, on top Brandon Semenuk with that win in Rotorua, followed by Nikolai Rogatkin and Brett Rheeder rounding out the top three. This could be anyone's game here today.
Oh man, look at that stacked list of riders. In the past, we've been like, okay, there's two guys who can do it. Right now, looking at those riders, it's anybody's game.
Well, the fans are ready. I know everyone watching worldwide is ready. Before we get to that, let's bring you up to speed on this incredible course. 14 features, a lot to contend with.
So Pat, take a look at this beautiful 3D graphic we have of the course. Super lifelike, except there's a whole lot more people standing there right now. Starting things off higher up the hill than last year. There's 2 features more before you even get to the previous starting point. And this is some familiar territory right there.
And 2 things you have to impress upon the viewers: stamina and the repertoire of tricks you need to have a full pull on this course.
Absolutely, 14 trickable features, and right now we're in familiar territory, starting out with that flat drop like we had the last few years, into a steeper trick jump into a left hip. Now this rhythm section, Pat.
20 feet, 6 meters in height, and it will go all the way up to 20 feet, so some good distances between these kickers.
Those first 2 jumps, it's going to be really important to choose your tricks wisely. That's an opportunity on the course to have complementary tricks and really get that variety score from the judges. And now here in the middle of the course, we're seeing a feature that usually ends the course. This is the whale tail, usually where we see Brandon Semenuk landing that cork 720 through the finish corral to the checkered flags with the win. We're going to see it on the middle of the course now, then a cannon.
And your thoughts on getting back to the roots with the flat drop?
It's true, just like you said, bringing it back to the roots. The original Joyrides, they always had a flat drop at the end. I have a feeling having it this year, we're going to see an obvious progression since the last few years we've had that kicker drop at the bottom.
So it's been interesting talking to all the riders. They said 2 things. It's big and it's fast, and that's what you come to expect coming to Crankworx in Whistler.
That's what you'd expect, but even the riders who have been battling their way, getting points to allow themselves to compete here, there were riders who were surprised at the magnitude of it. You look at it on the screen and you think, well, it looks like a big jump, but when you stand next to the kicker, it's just taller than anywhere else, and that's what kind of defines Joyride. Everything's bigger and badder.
And there's one rider who's really wearing the bullseye squarely on his back, Brandon Semenuk. Everyone's been talking about, can he get a 5th win here? And you look at the history over the years, it's been incredible when Semenuk just dominating.
I like it, Pat. A little trip down memory lane.
Yes, let's do it. Let's get nostalgic. 2011 was the year. It's unbelievable to think it was only 5 years ago, and this Canadian, Brandon Semenuk, would usher in a whole nother level of progression for Joyride.
So this kid was already dominant in the world of slopestyle, but he had yet to win in front of his home crowd. Finally did it in 2011.
2012, the Belgian rider Tomas Genon upset the building dominance of Semenuk, the tech clean approach, the last non-Canadian to win this event. And what a run he put together.
People were like, who in the world is this kid? He was relatively unknown to fans. The riders knew who he was, but coming into the biggest contest in the year, standing on the top step of the podium, that was a massive breakout for him.
Our own Cam McCall there, another notch on the podium. Notable mention there.
That felt good.
Have to do it. 2013, back to form, that laser focus, and reignited. We saw Semenuk back in form.
This is when we got a little insight into how good he is at dealing with pressure. Everybody in the world wanted him to repeat and win again. He finally stomped it after crashing his first run. That was a victorious moment right there. Brandon's 2nd big win.
And how do you follow up something like that? 2014, he found a way, added a whole other bag of tricks to his repertoire.
To be this dominant takes so much secretive practice. You can't let your secrets out or else everybody will be able to know what to practice and they'll be right there with you.
In 2015, what some are saying, one of the cleanest runs he's ever put together.
This is the one people were saying was the best slopestyle run of all time, and I mean, who's going to argue that? These combinations, similar to the ones that he just recently released on his video project, stomped him under the pressure.
2016, who will add their name to this illustrious list of champions?
And as we've seen so far, anyone could add their name to that list, but even before Joyride became a part of the Crankworx series, let's go back 2004. Look at the illustrious list of riders we're seeing here.
Oh, so prestigious. Yeah. And you look back and you see Paul Bass started it out and he repeated between 2004 and 2005. And then look, between 2011 and 2015, there's a whole lot of Brandon Semenuk right there.
It started with that dominance with Brandon Semenuk. There's one rider, a Belgian rider, Tomas Genon, in that Semenuk sandwich. He's with Tina Dixon. Let's check in with her.
Thanks, guys. And I'm with the only rider that has actually broken up Brandon Semenuk's run and his wins. But Tomas, let's go back to 2012 when you won. Why do you think you were so successful that year?
I'm not so sure. I think I just, won my best and then it just happened. So I don't think there's any reason. It just happened.
Well, today is a special day for you. Happy birthday. Let us wish you happy birthday. On my birthday, I always feel like, hey, this is my day. How do you think that can translate to your competition here?
I don't know. I don't really mind. I think I just woke up with a smile because everybody was wishing me a happy birthday. And I think riding with a smile is the best thing you can have. So that's good.
Well, and for someone that has a great poker face, he's already smiling, guys.
Indeed. Thank you, Tina. Even on his birthday, he's calm and collected. You got to love that. Little shout out to all the viewers watching worldwide. We want to get your opinion. We know that Brandon Semenuk, he is a fan favorite, but let's get you involved in the discussion. Tweet #YesSemenuk or #NoSemenuk. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more yeses than nos, based on they know what he's been up to in the lab.
Yeah, they also know it's possible for him to mess up too. 14 trickable features, even an inhuman creature like Brandon could mess up, so anything could happen.
There's going to be a lot of new tricks you're going to see, but let's break down 4 riders, 4 tricks to get a better handle on it.
The 2016 Crankworx season has already treated the viewers to so many aspects of slopestyle freeride mountain biking, each rider representing something unique. Tomas Genon, known for his precise and technical approach.
It's true, that's what he's got in his back pocket. There's no one way to win a slopestyle contest or get that top score, but Tomas Genon, he does it through precision and variety, getting opposite 360 variations that look just as stylish as his regular.
In direct contrast to that, the athletic approach of Nikolai Rogatkin continuing to push the limits of rotation.
I mean, are you kidding me? At 1080, yeah, the landing was squirrely, but does it really matter when you're doing one more rotation than anybody else in the field?
I'll answer that, no. Rheeder showing he's incredibly comfortable spinning both directions.
So we're talking about Genon being ambidextrous, but Brett Rheeder taking it to another level, doing the 720 both directions with style. That's how he chooses to try to get that top spot.
And Brandon Semenuk potentially embodies all of it.
Yeah, I mean, we went into detail about all those different characteristics and the riders that embody them. And then you look at Brandon Semenuk, there's a reason he's been so dominant. He kind of has it all.
And that is what's great about this sport, allowing the fans to connect with one particular style, each rider doing it in their own unique way.
And it's hard to imagine that was at the beginning of the season. You can see the hillside getting packed here today, and the competition format fairly simple here in the slopestyle finals for Joyride. 2 runs, best run counts, but it's finding that magic and packing it in to a very feature-intensive run.
And with this being the biggest event of the year, do you see everybody throwing safety runs out the window, just going for that golden run right off the bat? But this year, we're definitely looking for the score, 1 out of 100, cumulative for that championship. So I don't think we're going to see any victory laps out here today.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Right now, let's check in with Tina Dixon, who has an update with weather here in Whistler. Tina?
Guys, for those of us that have been here earlier this week, we all know that it has been incredibly hot and dusty here in Whistler. But today, the temperatures have cooled down quite a bit, making it for just more comfortable riding conditions. Now, there is a little bit of wind. We'll have to keep our eyes out for that. But in talking to the riders, they aren't having to make any adjustments in their runs. And in watching practice earlier, I saw several new tricks being thrown down. And if that is any indication of what we can expect to see in the finals, we're in for a treat, guys.
Thank you, Tina. Yeah, as you pointed out, time and time again, Cam, expect the unexpected, especially when we've watched what's gone down this week, what's gone down with video parts leading up to this last stop of the season. Energy could not be higher. Let's take a look at our qualified riders. Unfortunately, some riders out with injury: Torquato Testa, Sam Reynolds, Yannick Ranieri, and Sam Pilgrim. But you see some names that we can expect some greatness out of.
And we're starting out with Cameron Zinc. Great to see him still out here. He's a 2-time champion. He won in 06 and 2010. And then some new guys like Matt Jones, somebody you may have heard of before, but not at Joyride. A legend like Ryan Nyquist. Then, of course, Anthony Messere broke out in the scene in 2011, all the way down to some more new guys like Diego Caverzasi.
Let's talk about Emil Johansson. A lot of excitement brewing about this guy, and it's well-deserved.
I am so excited to watch him ride because he reminds me of those breakouts we've seen from young riders in the past, like Genon, like Messere, like Paul Bass, like Andreu Lacondegui. He's coming out swinging. He doesn't have any sponsors. He doesn't have anything to lose. It's everything to gain for him.
And so much focus is put on the likes of Nikolai Rogatkin, Semenuk, Rheeder, Tomas Genon, but the truth is, any of those riders could take this event based on what we've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got those riders who are very familiar with that podium turf, but then we've got some new guys here who definitely have what it takes to knock them off.
And want to remind everybody to jump on the Red Bull TV Analyzer. It allows you to be the director. Simply click on the bottom left. You can break down the event, the runs, the crashes, your favorite rider, and best yet, you can share your favorite moments via social media. Puts you in the driver's seat, so to speak, and it really allows you to go back and watch those favorite runs. As a fan, there's nothing better. The Red Bull TV Analyzer. Don't miss it. And we are moments away from kicking off Red Bull Joyride 2016. As you can see, just how crowded it is here today, standing room only. But there are a few names that we need to make further mention of. Like we said, there's a lot of dark horses here, a lot of riders that could upset the balance, so to speak, Cam.
Well, it's so hard to qualify for this event. There are some riders who you would have expected to see here in years past, but they finally have the points now. One of them is Matt Jones. He won the Colorado Freeride Festival, buying himself a wildcard invite to Joyride.
And Logan Peat, he's been on the radar, but also we should mention in Semenuk's circle, maybe this type of course favors a rider like Logan.
So consistent, has the ability to stay calm under pressure, and yeah, has access to Brandon's training facility. That can't hurt.
Legendary doesn't even begin to cover it. Ryan Nyquist, 16 X Games medals, so skilled, and he earned his way here.
And you know what? Earning his way in here, so impressive. He wanted to transition, but sometimes you can want in one hand and then something else happens in the other. But he actually pulled it off. He fought really hard to get those points. He's here. The last time he was here, he won Red Bull Elevation back in 07. So he's familiar with Whistler. He loves the village, and he's looking to put on another good show for the fans.
Such a huge stamp of validation for mountain biking having Nyquist here. And speaking of legends, Cam Zinc, the first in the gate. What can you say that he hasn't done? He's capable of anything within the sport.
Well, he's done so much on this boneyard course. We've only got 2 guys in their 30s still competing here. Ryan Nyquist is one of them. Cam Zinc is another. Cam Zinc, a 2-time champion, once in 06, once in 2010. He had a 5th, he had a 3rd, and he's been here competing every year except for once. He had a crash in practice. But, out of 13 or 14 events, only missing it once is so impressive. So it's amazing to still see him out here.
And we should say, rumored to be nursing an ankle injury. We'll have to see how that plays in his run. Just based off his social media, he's showing a lot of excitement looking into Rampage, and we know what he's capable of at Rampage.
Obviously, like last year, his Rampage run was one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. So you want to see him emerge out of this event healthy. It's just great to still see him out here competing in front of these fans.
Cam Zinc, known for drive, determination, and has given so much to the sport.
Well, we started things, Pat. Looks like this is our first run. Cam Zinc dropping in.
So navigating that first top of the course, just easing his way into this run.
So the crowd here, they know the name Cam Zinc. People have been following this for the last 13 years. They love to cheer this guy on. He really wanted to just go for broke out here. I was talking to him this morning. He said he wanted to just have a last send-off on this course and just really pull out all the stops. He's been working on cash rolls, Cork 720s. He has all those tricks. So hard to link him together in a course with 14 features. Basically just showing up and saying, you know what, guys, I'm still here.
So obviously not tricking any of those features. Safe to assume he's playing it safe, just getting a full pull, making his way down to the bottom. And there it is, Cam Zinc, our first rider here at Joyride. And you can see the fans, the family, all in support of Cam Zinc. So an interesting moment there for Cam Zinc. We made a reference to a possible ankle injury, nursing that, obviously, trying to play it safe and just kind of make his way down, feel out the course. Right now, let's check in with Tina Dixon, who's with the legendary Cam Zinc. Tina.
Yes, I am with 2-time winner Cam Zinc. And Cam, we know you're riding hurt and injured, but that was not going to stop you today.
Yeah, I hurt my ankle in practice, and I don't know. There's no alternatives here. So I just decided to take my run, put on one last show for the crowd. The crowd here has been amazing. The last 13 years have been some of the best times of my life. Coming into this finish corral, you guys have been amazing. So literally heartwarming every time I roll into this finish corral. I don't know, I'm the last of the original crowd, the original slopestyle class, so it's a bit of a new era, I guess. Yeah, I'm just gonna go home, get this ankle ready for Rampage. Just wanted to do one last say la vie. Thanks for everything over the years. I'll be competing, everything else just done with slope. And yeah, RIP for Stevie, Kelly McGarry, Dave Mira, Eric Roner, and Paul Bass. Get well soon, buddy. We're all thinking of you. And have fun up there, boys.
Cam, so well spoken. What a special moment this is for you and this event has meant for you. Your first win was back in 2006. How can you sum it all up and then just moving forward with the rest of these competitors?
I don't know, it's been a trip. I just wanted to hold on to it as long as I could. I was working really hard for this contest and then just ended up getting hurt. I wanted one last push, one last, go gnarly for everyone, but here to watch the boys now. All the boys are killing it. The level's super high, and I'm just getting hurt too much trying to keep up with them. And good luck to everyone.
Cam, thank you for all your contributions to mountain biking. It's just a treat just to watch you ride. Cam Zinc, everybody.
Thank you, Tina. What a special moment there, Cam, and an honest moment from Cam Zinc.
Yeah, the capper to such an amazing career on this boneyard course in front of these fans. He's made them scream for over a decade. It's just really cool to see him, look at himself and go, all right, I'm going to save myself a rampage. I'm not going to try to kill myself here, but just have a nice send-off. It was really symbolic of an amazing career.
So an official kick-out of slopestyle competition, but we expect more from Cam Zinc in other circles for sure. As we take a great aerial shot of the course, and Tomas Zeta, the Czech rider, you always talk about his ability, good fast twitch muscles, should serve him well on this course. He notes one of his primary influences, you're going to love this, you.
Oh, hello, yeah. Isn't that cool? What a guy. I love watching him ride. I almost wish that I could watch him ride through a phantom camera at 1,000 frames per second all the time, because he packs so many combinations into each feature.
Interestingly enough, he sent in a sponsor me video to the Nitro Circus guys this past year, and he got a chance to ride in the show. So he's got skills across the board. 3 right to begin with.
There we go, 360 off the Joyride drop, starting things off, getting a tail whip up the step up into the SRAM drop. So Tomas Zeta with a 360 off that drop. We're looking for combos. There's one right there. A backflip X up on the step up. Overspin 450. We're going to be looking for some variations on this 4-pack, Pat.
Definitely prefers the combos.
There we go, the backflip tail whip. Ooh, a bar spin to X up on the second jump. Definitely looks like he maybe missed a little speed, and that's it. Not able to carry that speed into the right hip. I'm not sure if maybe he had a flat tire or something. This course is such a rhythm section. If you make one timing mistake, you're not going to be able to hit the next feature.
It's incredibly unforgiving, and you keep bringing up the stamina factor. You need to land perfectly to set up for that next jump. Let's take a look back on how vital that landing is.
Well, take a look at this back tire right here. We have the luxury of seeing a slow motion view. Did he come up a little bit short? He came up a little bit sideways, and what that does is it peels the tire off of the rim. The tube explodes. He already knows that he's losing air pressure right now, and it must have blown out right before the lip of that right hip.
So a throwaway for Zeta as he'll look to his second and final run. It only takes one run. You can put it all together. As we can see, a packed hillside here at 2016 Joyride. So we jump back to the top, tenacity personified. I call him the Velociraptor. Anything on a bike, he's capable of. We mentioned the 16 X Games gold medals, 37 years old. And he had, we made mention of it earlier, earned his way here. He didn't get a pass based on his BMX prowess.
You know what? No matter who you are, you could be Ryan Nyquist. You can't just knock on Crankworx's door and say, hey, I want to ride Joyride. They'll tell you, all right, go and earn it. And Ryan Nyquist did exactly that. Nyquist qualified through the FMB World Tour. You've got some smaller events where points are up for grabs. So we're looking at Swatch Rocket Air right now in Switzerland. Look at that. The tricks that you come to associate with Ryan Nyquist, like the 360 suicide flung double bar. And he was doing tricks that, he can do on a BMX bike, but adapting that to the mountain bike is so much harder. The bike's so much bigger, so things like a 720 bar spin, his ability to adapt is so impressive.
And Ryan has gone on record honestly talking about the difficulties crossing over, how humbled he was just learning a 360, but how him being here is starting to shift the narrow opinions within BMX, even the likes of Morgan Wade. I go down the list of guys that are really opening their eyes to the possibilities of mountain bikes.
It's huge validation for slopestyle mountain biking in general to have him embracing it and competing alongside these guys who are 20 years younger than him in some cases.
Here we go, Ryan Nyquist, run number 1.
So unique up that step up, a rocket suicide no-hander, putting his feet on the pegs, the only guy in the field with pegs, bringing his BMX influence into slopestyle mountain biking. Wow, the backflip bar spin with that signature Nyquist style. Oh, an overspun 720 on the hip. Wow.
Back to Nyquist form, we know.
Backflip one-handed X up on the first jump of the 4-pack, linking it right into that 360 one-handed X up. And that is an opposite rotated overspun 360 suicide no-hander. Getting the variety, the judges love that in slopestyle with 14 features. A double truck driver on the lip down out of the cabin. No, not another flat tire, Pat.
A little overcooked on that, and unfortunately a tire blown for Nyquist. Up to that point, where were you seeing that run sit? Definitely a more confident Nyquist than we've seen.
Well, he was on to such a great run that if he would have finished it, it obviously would have taken him into the lead from what we've seen so far. But that opposite rotated 360 suicide no-hander, you have to have your own flair on things to be able to have what it takes to get a good score out here. And Nyquist definitely doing it. There's 14 features on the course. We only got to see him ride half of it. I can't wait to see him in run 2.
Definitely started off strong, and that was the thing about Ryan Nyquist for so many years. When they made the comparison with BMX and mountain biking, they said this guy is so comfortable at bar spins and flips, it should be a great, easy transition.
Well, you know what? Not only do you have to transition your BMX tricks to the mountain bike, but you also have to transition your technique and your style to cater to how the judges actually judge these things with 14 features. So he linked the backflip one-handed X-up into that 360 one-handed X-up that you saw, complementary maneuvers. And in that slow motion view, you can really see the style overturning that X-up past the 180-degree mark.
So Ryan Nyquist, unfortunate, was starting off with a very, very strong run. Disappointment there, just overcooked that landing. So it'll be all or nothing for Ryan Nyquist on run number 2. Another rider along with Nyquist that we were making mention of that you want to keep your eyes on is about to drop in. 22 years old, fresh off a win at the Colorado Freeride Fest. Matt Jones. A lot of discussion, and he went on record in specific about this course at Crankworx.
It's been a long time coming. I've spent the last few years here spectating Crankworx, watching Joyride, but to be a part of it's a completely different experience. I think I was probably naive coming into this, having watched it before, that the jumps weren't too bad, but I mean, they are huge. If anyone thinks from the video they're not big, they are massive.
So interestingly enough, he's gone on record saying, I've never been scared of big jumps, but like he said, when you see this in person, it's entirely different, Cam. You know how big these jumps are.
Everything looks smaller when you're looking through the screen, so if those of you at home, the jumps look relatively big, just rest assured that they're even bigger than what you could possibly imagine, and the reality of that sinking into Matt Jones as he's dropping in for his first Joyride appearance.
Grew up in the town of Woburn, and I know the Burn crew are watching from across the pond.
So excited to see him finally arrive at this event. I know he's been on his quest for so long. The flat drop backflip off the SRAM drop right into the double backflip on the step up. So lofty. That's the trick that got him here, got him the win at Colorado Freeride Festival. The 270 on the right hip. What's he got on the 4-pack? Oh, a backflip tail up coming up a little short. Can he maintain speed? Pushes through the 360. Great demonstration of keeping cool under pressure. Oh, wow, an overspin 720. Did he land it? Oh, it doesn't look like it. Oh, no, he didn't land it, Pat.
720 goes down after pulling the double, and you hate to see that. Matt Jones off to a stellar start. Nothing wrong on that top section. Was literally just weaving everything together. Incredible linkage.
He was doing exactly what he knows he needs to do. He was doing what he did to win in Colorado Freeride Festival and earn himself a spot here. The flat drop flip, the lofty double backflip, and that 720 on a right hip. That's the same thing he did in Colorado. This time, we lost the camera angle, but I think he over-rotated a little bit.
And it's incredible to think he's only been competing internationally since 2013. Let's take a look at where it started off well for him. Matt Jones, mentally
almost
strong.
Better than well. Let's look back at this step-up jump right here. It's so lofty. That's like the slowest double backflip I've ever seen. You see him eye up the landing after the first rotation and just guide it in after that, gauging how much time he has left. There we go, right alongside the chairlift there. Those guys have the best view in the house. They timed that one right. What are the odds? So keep your eyes on the landing here of this backflip tail up. This is where things started to get a little sketchy. He landed a little bit short, a little bit sideways, but he maintained composure. He pushed through with that 360, so he was back on track. And now taking a look at where he's at right now, he's up, Pat, great to see.
Yeah, obviously taking a hard hit on that failed 720 attempt, but if he can find the wherewithal and the fortitude and come back in a second run, I think that was well on its way to a top 5, if not podium placing run.
I mean, I would definitely not disagree with that. I feel like it's amazing that he's up right now. I can only hope that he's not rattled enough to where he would sit out his second run. I would love to see him stomp that and fill in the blanks, finish the course, and really kick off his first Joyride appearance on the right foot.
As a fan, it leaves you hopeful that you have riders 22 years old like this pushing the sport like that. His twin brother Jono says that the rivalry has fueled him between him and his brother, so it's definitely served him well. And our current standings look like this. Obviously, none of the full polls that we expect to see here. So Matt Jones on top with that 34.8. We expect numbers well in the 80s and the 90s when these guys really start to lay it together.
Well, take it back all the way to 2004. I can't remember a single time where we saw the first 4 riders not make it to the finish line. Obviously, Zinc went through the finish line, but he was just waving it off. So we need to see a full poll here.
So Logan Peat, we mentioned, he's been on everyone's radar for quite some time, but we made mention that he should relish in the length of course. And why is that?
Well, this guy is so consistent, and he has such a great ability to stay calm. So yeah, we haven't seen somebody do a full pull with tricks and make it to the finish corral. So this is the exact guy we need up there dropping in next.
And I love these stories about supportive parents. His parents bought an empty lot so he could build jumps. Both mom and dad have been incredibly supportive, and all the parents out there watching, this is what you get when you get behind your kid and show him the love and support with a passion of his.
Well, it's great to see them support him. I know they're probably so proud seeing him here. Early on in his career, he battled injuries, but he has been so consistent and smooth ever since. The 360 down, the can up the step up, and this is where things get serious, Pat. The truck driver off the start drop. You see his landings, how smooth he is? That's what happens when you train with Brandon Semenuk. A backflip bar spin to the moon. Oh, wow, an opposite tail whip going down on the hip.
And another rider falling victim to the course. Unfortunate, Logan Peat. In practice, we were watching top to bottom runs and see all the riders just facing some difficulties here.
I mean, we talk about how big the crowd here, how much prestige is involved with this event. Is that really getting to them right now? We haven't seen a full pull yet, and Logan Peat, of all people, falling in his run. Let's take a look back at what happened. So starting things off, perfect 360 bar spin drop, spinning his regular direction on the drop. Backflip bar spin, looked like he wanted the tuck no-hander that may have still been on his mind here with this opposite tail whip. No, that was his regular tail up on that. So surprising to see him mess that up.
Yeah, didn't quite get the catch. It looked like that he wanted, and then was just a little offline.
You never see him mess up, so I was thinking, that must have been an opposite whip, but messing up on his regular whip, I don't know if it's the pressure, if there's a little wind or something, but something wild is going on here at Joyride 2016.
Interesting morning so far, but it's not stopping the fans from filling every nook and cranny of this course. As all riders feeling a bit anxious on this first run of 2. Anthony Messere, breakout year was 2011. Slowly but surely, though, he's been honing his skills since then. You've always talked about it, how he's maybe even slightly underrated in terms of, the skill sets that he's built throughout the years.
Yeah, I feel like when he broke onto the scene, he was such a firecracker, and you never knew what to expect from him. He was blowing up in the middle of a lot of runs, similar to what we've seen so far here today. But since, he's become so refined and smooth, and so I'm hoping we're going to see our first full pull here out of Anthony Messere. So into the SRAM drop, there's that truck driver landing even smoother than we saw Logan Peat land. Backflip bar spin to tuck no-hander. That's the trick Logan was looking for last run. And there we go. Anthony with that signature flat spin 360. Overspinning on that hip. A backflip tail whip. He comes up a little bit short too, so surprising. A front flip. Can he clear the gap? Thank goodness. Perfect landing on that front flip. A double tail up on the hip. He's still up, Pat. This is good.
This is almost gonna do it for Messere.
Into the Joyride cabin, whale tail, backflip, bar spin on the step down. The crowd is going nuts. He roosts that corner. Does he have the speed? A tail up on the cannon. Through the skipper. One last feature, Pat. Backflip up. And a tail up down, stomping it. There we go.
The landing, Messere. The first solid top to bottom run. We talked about 2011 when he found his way onto the Joyride podium, 3rd place there. A win in France as well at last year's stop, but I'll tell you what, Messere means business with that run.
We have a crazy energy here this year. This seems like more of a battle. It's like get top to bottom. They're fighting for it right now.
So recognized as a mountain biking prodigy from a young age. Look how far he's come as we jump up top.
Great extension on the backflip, bar spin to tuck no-hander. Great amplitude. The judges are looking for that. And you know, they have a style category on their scorecard as well. Anthony Messere has that with that signature style flat spin 360 over the hip. Backflip tail up, coming up a little bit short. We're going to take another look back at that backflip tail up because we've seen so many people messing up on this trick, on this feature, coming up a tiny bit short. He did, we're going to see here in a little bit, the knuckles on the top of these landings, they're very flat. You lose speed even if you're about 4 inches too short. So he's eyeing up his landing, comes up a little bit short, blows his feet actually. Didn't even notice that until we saw the slow-mo version. Last feature, Pat. Tail whip straight to pedals, nothing blowing off there, and the crowd just went nuts.
And we've been talking about how hard that landing is. It doesn't matter if you stick it. It is a lot to suck up. As Messere waits for his scores coming in on his first run of 2, where best run counts, an 81.6. We have a new leader.
Oh, man. It has begun, Pat.
Will it be another Canadian taking the top spot here today? Let's check in with Tina, who's with Messere.
Anthony, there has to be some sense of relief. The first full run from top to bottom. How would you rate that run?
Well, you know, it wasn't exactly what I wanted, but felt the wind a little bit towards the middle of the course, so, you know, it was a little gnarly, but made it to the bottom. That's all we want is, you know, to make it down here safely, and that happened, so I'm stoked.
You know, we saw you come up a short on one of the jumps. Foot pedal slip. How do you fix all that?
You know, just clean it up for the second run. Don't slip the pedals. Hopefully the wind chills out a little bit, and yeah.
Well, the first high score, the first top to bottom run we've seen, guys.
Thanks, Tina. So Anthony Messere, a sigh of relief. How does that feel when you get that? When you've seen a couple riders have troubles with the course and you're able to push through it?
There's literally no better feeling. The crowd in the finish corral, they bring you in with such a warm welcoming. And I can't believe he was talking about blowing the foot on that flip up. We saw that slow-mo replay. I can't believe he was able to do a front flip after that. I mean, that's indicative of the crowd really pulling you through, just making it happen.
Incredible resilience. Our next rider has been an amazing ambassador for the sport in Poland. Confidence is definitely high right now. We saw him at the best trick competition in Leger. He definitely has a deep repertoire. The question is, how deep can he dig into that and hit all the 14 features and remember what to do?
It's got to be hard to be Szymon Godziek and choosing from all those tricks. He has all the tricks that everybody uses to get those podium spots, but he chooses to be different, exactly like he just did there, starting things off with a flat drop front flip. Off of that drop is only about 4 feet out of the start gate.
A high risk, high reward.
Well, everybody has been saying he's been looking very, very strong in practice. There's that backflip bar spin catching early. Looked like he wanted the tuck no-hander, not getting it. Smooth style on that 450 on the hip. Quark 720 on the first jump, and he clears the jump. We've been seeing people come up short, but not Szymon Godziek. Superman seat grab, getting variety, mixing up the motocross tricks. 360 tail up on the hip. Man, he looks so calm right now.
Calm and definitely keeping it creative, as you pointed out. Really keeping things fresh on each different feature.
He's got those flagship tricks you need, but he also gets creative. Oh no, losing speed off the giant cannon.
Up to that point,
come on,
probably the second cleanest run we've seen.
I mean, I was really feeling like he was going to get a full pull there because he looked so cool under pressure. I thought that we were going to see a new leader there.
Well, you mentioned that BMX freestyle motocross style that he lends upon. Big inspiration to him is Travis Pastrana, and you see it in his riding. Definitely has a good bag of tricks.
So look at this right here, the over-rotated 450 on the hip. Right into this first trick jump, this was a highlight for me, that Cork 720. We've been seeing people case that jump, not Szymon Godziek, but doing a Superman seat grab in 2016 in a slopestyle run. A lot of people opting for more of the technical combos, but never losing sight of the style and drawing influence from different sports. That is exactly what we know Szymon Godziek for. There's a slow-mo of that Cork 720. Look how perfect the landing is, Pat.
Call me selfish. I want to see the tsunami backflip that he pulled out at Red Bull District Ride.
Exactly. You can look back and
need the handlebars, but still, come on.
So many iconic tricks he's had, and like, how does he choose what to put into these runs?
So a little disappointment there for Godziek on his first run of 2. It'll be a throwaway with that fall. But judging how things have been going, who knows? Even with a fall midway, you could placed fairly decent on up the order.
At this point, it's like, how far through the course do you get before you fall? And one thing I'm trying to figure out is, why have we seen people messing up? You know, in that case, in Szymon Godziek's run, I think he lost speed in the berm coming into the cannon. I think he lost a little traction. So really, this is like an intricate little jigsaw puzzle. If you have one piece wrong, then it derails the train.
One of the coolest things you're going to see when you come to Whistler in the summertime are the young kids riding at ages 3, 4 in complete downhill kits.
Yeah, as mountain biking has evolved, so have the products that are aimed towards little kids. So you're seeing people really be able to get out there and ride with their kids at a young age.
So Godziek into second for the moment, but many more riders yet to go with their first of 2 runs. And our next rider up, he's been one of 2 riders, the first one at practice every day, and for good reason. He loves to ride, and he's willing to put the work in. He had this to say about Crankworx in particular.
I'm watching Crankworx every year from the first one. I started to ride in 2003, so at the beginning I see all the New World Disorder where there was a lot of part of Crankworx, and I'm really happy to enjoy this show.
So one of 2 Italian riders in the finals, as we mentioned, Torquato Testa out with injury. Him and Torquato, they work with the bike park, the Monza Pizza bike park in Monza, Italy. Very, very dedicated rider, and talking about slight injury, but he's been trying to psych himself up all week, watching videos of himself. I didn't even know that's possible.
You know, sometimes he had great results at the beginning of the year, and sometimes you want to just get yourself back into that headspace you were in when you won before. So that's what Diego was doing, and right now starting off to a really smooth run. Backflip bar spin to the moon on that step-up jump. It looked like a tuck no-hander to bar spin on the hip. These guys, Diego and Torquato, really putting Italy on the map there with the backflip, tail whip to bar spin, the front flip bar spin. No! No, Pat, what is going on here?
Potentially, the stakes are so high. Every rider knows that they need to pack everything into this run, the combinations. And you can see, obviously, the disappointment from Diego there. I mean, he literally can layer each trick with so many combinations, the way that he's able to put tricks together so seamlessly.
It was literally more disappointment than pain with that one right there. He's been working so hard, like you said, the first guy on the course for practice. That's what Diego and Torquato Testa are known for. Here it is, backflip, tail up. Was that a bar spin or an X up? The combination on both jumps of the 4-pack with that front flip bar spin. You know, we've been seeing him doing the backflip bar spin to tail up. That may have been a backflip tail up to X up, but mixing up the combos, he has all these tricks and he weaves them into different orders just to keep the judges on their toes.
Yeah, so it's interesting where you're watching the riders have problems on the course. Didn't see it in practice, but definitely seeing here on game day as Diego will have to look to his second run. It's going to be all or nothing for so many of these riders. As we get ready for our next rider, a lot of anticipation building for this young Swede. Let's check in with Tina Dixon, who's got a little more insight about Emil.
Yeah, thank you, Pat. I'm with a very familiar face, Martin Soderstrom, the other Swedish rider. Martin, what's your involvement in Emil's upbringing, getting back into the mountain biking scene?
Oh, first of all, I'm just so proud of that guy, and also Max Fredriksson, actually. They're both Swedish and super proud of them. But let's talk about Emil, yeah. I mean, last year, he didn't even have an FMB license, and this year, he's really proven himself that he really, really deserves to be here. He's done so many good events leading up to this one, and I really think he's been doing it like the right way. He doesn't have a foam pit, he doesn't have an airbag or a perfect slopestyle course at home. He have just been practicing in Sweden in a cold indoor place on a small mulch jump, and just really, really been focused and motivated, and really showing the young riders that it's possible to grow up in Sweden and doesn't have the best setup and still make it to the biggest event of the year.
Well, let's see if that focus and motivation can pay off. Here's Emil. Pat?
Thanks, Tina. Yeah, you talk about that motivation. He was actually accepted into a school that you have to prove that motivation and determination, where you can actually do the sport of choice and the school and the government get behind you. He says the jumps there aren't great, but the ones at Max Fredriksson's house, those are his favorite.
You know, the strong rise to the top, and Emil Johansson is so strong. The opposite tail up down, starting things off. He learned whip drops just yesterday, and he's already doing them opposite off that start drop. There we go, 360 bar spin. Off the SRAM drop, into the step up, backflip bar spin to 1-foot can, good extension. Opposite tail whip on the hip, getting great variety. Man, this kid's exciting. The backflip tail whip landing so smooth, he makes it look easy. Wow, 360 bar spin to inward table, adding combos with tricks. And then a double tail up on the hip.
Really adding that smooth, silky style. Johansson.
I didn't expect that from a suicide up and a backflip bar spin down. So new to tricks off of cannons. Looked like a 360 one-footed can there. This is such a good run, Pat. One last feature.
Johansson, last chance to put a stamp.
Stomps the 360 into the finish line.
Perfect landing. Emil Johansson. And we've talked about it. Maybe being in this position where there's no pressure, you can just dig in your pocket and find a run like that. That is unbelievable.
This is so huge for this kid. I've got that same feeling as I did when I watched so many young riders break onto the scene in the past of this event. Emil Johansson is here, ladies and gentlemen.
If you could buy stock in Johansson, would you do it right now?
The Emil Johansson IPO is now available.
Oh my goodness.
Let's take a look back at this banger run. He looks like a seasoned vet, yet he's 17 years old. His first Joyride appearance. Opposite tail up on that hip, into the 4-pack. All these guys who've been making it look so difficult to get a full pill, somehow he's making it look easy. Let's slow things down and really appreciate the execution of Emil. Here we go, 360 bar spin, so you got a combo, but now let's add some style to it. The inward table, clicking the tire all the way to the shoulder, giving the crew on the chairlift an amazing show, and landing so smooth with that signature Swedish style. Last drop, you know, he's just been tricking off of drops for a couple days, a 360 drop through the finish line.
So first scores coming in on the first of two runs. And definitely needs to better that 81.6. And scores finally come in at 85.2. The young Swede catapults to the top of the leaderboard.
Oh man, it's so good to see. I was hoping we would see him have this type of performance on his breakout year at Joyride, and he did not disappoint. He's got to just be buzzing right now. That feeling, he's never ridden in front of this many people before in his life. He's got to just be on cloud 9.
Incredible competition so far as Emil Johansson literally just threw the gauntlet, the warning shot across the bow to the rest of the field. And Tomas Lemoine, the 19-year-old, 5th in the world right now, crazy innate bike skills. We talk about almost a renaissance rider, if you will, of like just how vast his bike skills are, and it doesn't matter what type of bike.
And you usually only see riders who are a little bit on the older end of the age spectrum with that type of, you know, broad talent spectrum. He actually is a guy who can win the pump track challenge at every Crankworx event, and a guy who can do stuff like that. That's a first in mountain bike slopestyle competition. We're finally seeing that, a 180 to half cab off the drop, basically taking off backwards.
And expect to see a lot more of that as we get to the other riders. We've been watching a lot of new tricks in practice.
Well, we've entered a new era. People are riding off of drops backwards, taking influence from BMX. I don't even think he's running a free coaster, so he was pedaling backwards to be able to do that. 360 tuck no-hander to bar spin. Amazing aerial view there. 360 double tail whip washing out. Oh, over-rotating.
And just like that, was literally starting to build with each feature he was hitting. It seemed like just the rhythm was increasing.
Well, he had everything you need, something brand new that we haven't seen yet. He had the luxury of being able to go early in the order. We may see that from some more riders coming up today, but he was the first person to do it here in mountain bike competition, the 180 to half cab off. Looking forward to seeing some replays of that run because it had some moments of brilliance.
The 720.
So 360 tuck no-hander to bar spin on the first jump of the 4-pack, coming into the second one with that 360 double tail whip, over-rotating a little bit and being a little bit nose high. We've got slow-mo of this 360 double tail whip to fully savor the action. Looks like he's sporting a new tattoo. You really can notice all the details when you got, looks like 1,000 frames per second. Watch the bike wiggle when he catches with his right foot. As you can see right here, he knows his front tire's too high. He's over-rotated a little bit too much, and man, takes it right to the side. Yet again, another rider not getting a full pull.
You hate to see it, but you also love to see these guys really risking it all and putting on a show for the fans watching worldwide and everyone that is packed into the village here at Whistler. They started coming in the early hours and grabbing every available seat. And the cool thing about so many of these fans, if this event wasn't on, they'd be out there riding. A very educated crowd and very passionate when it comes to the sport of mountain biking.
And I think that's why there's such a warm feeling for the riders out here. The crowd, yes, it's large, but also it's an educated crowd and a crowd that can relate to the feeling of riding a bike. So they're really pulling for you, and I think that's why you're able to see a lot of riders step outside their comfort zone. This crowd really just ramps it up and increases that adrenaline squirt off the start line.
So unfortunately for Lemoine, he'll have to put it all together. Just work out the cobwebs, whatever they may be with that run. Definitely a contender. We've talked about how many riders could upset the balance. So much focus on the likes of Semenuk, Rheeder, Genon, Rogatkin, but it's these type of riders that can come out of nowhere and snatch the spoils of victory. As we look at our current standings, Johansson still on top with that 85.2. Amazing riding by the young Swede. Messere in second as we get ready for what I like to say, one of the journeymen in the sport. He's been around for quite some time, Medigani. And Medigani slightly battling injuries, but you've always gone on record saying just the skill set, everything is there in Medigani's game bag.
He is so impressive, and he's been under the radar for a number of years. He's 27, so he's a little bit older than some of these guys who are, just showing up to Joyride, but he's been here before. It took him a little bit longer to get here, but he was kind of doing his own thing. He was the first guy we saw do a backflip tail up to bar spin, and it was kind of under the radar on Instagram, but we've now seen him really show that he belongs here. He's like that really good band that you never knew existed, that you heard about and you realized they had like 5 albums already, and you're so excited to just delve in. So still on an upward trajectory, hasn't plateaued, even though he's 27.
He's a man band, is what it is. He's a man band, not a boy band.
But a heavy man band.
Yeah. Maybe with a southern death metal vibe to it.
I love it.
Here we go, Medigani, run number 1.
Wow, holy cow. Flat backflip off that tiny little drop. Like I said before, I think it's only about 4 feet in vertical height. So technical to be able to rotate that on such a small amount of airtime. 360 drop into the step up. The most airtime on the course. Backflip, double bar spin, over rotating, but regaining composure and making it across. He's still on track, thank goodness. Into the 4-pack. Backflip bar spin to tuck no-hander. Man, it's all about getting full pulls here. Cork 720. He's halfway through the course. He can do it. 270 in that hip. Into the Joyride cabin whale tail. Backflip bar spin down.
Oh, he can feel the ending at this point.
Well, the crowd's pulling him through. Wow! A backflip tuck no-hander on the cannon log. So hard to do flip combos on a feature like that. Front flip up the step up. Oh, wow. Man, good thing he grabbed onto that railing.
A slight bobble on the landing of that front flip, and we've seen a couple guys do that in practice, but that is an incredible gamble going into that feature. Just the gap that you have to deal with and the speed factor.
Well, look at how much space you have to get control after front flipping. Front flips are so blind, you're basically staring at your lap and then the landing's there, and he wasn't ready to ride off.
And we've seen a lot of riders get trapped up there. Saw Brett Rheeder in practice yesterday try to get off that thing.
All right, let's take it back up to the top. I want to see some replays because that backflip off the very start drop, that was huge, even though it's small. The reason that it's huge is because it's so small. Only about 4 feet of vertical drop, somehow doing all he can with all of his body weight to get that rotation around. The 360 drop was spot on. You know, he had a couple little spots where he had little bobbles, like over-rotating on that backflip double bar spin. But with what we have been seeing, so many people have been making mistakes. It doesn't even matter if you miss a trick on something. It's all about the full pull at this point.
Some good adjustment there and able to maintain.
Oh, there it is right here. You've got to fill your run with the bangers and absolutely upside down style for that Quark 720. Medigani, some people do it on more of a flat spin axis. He was absolutely straight upside down, like a true backflip 360.
And where it went wrong towards the end of the run, I mean, up to that point, it was a sealed deal on this landing, so front flip.
Blind, he sees his landing now. And right now he realizes he doesn't have the control to ride off. And you know, he made a great decision. It can be easy to make the wrong decision when you've got this crowd pulling you through, but if he were to try to ride off that thing, it would have resulted in a big crash. So he stopped, grabbed that railing, and, you know, kept it safe for run 2.
So now he gets to go back, get internal, think about what he can do differently on that last feature, and maybe trick the 2 hits that he had to just work his way through up top.
98% of a full pull. He was so close he could smell the finish corral.
Unfortunate, 47.4, good enough for 3rd place for the moment, but we don't expect that number to hold as more riders yet to take their first of 2 runs. It's best run that counts. So Medigani,
I mean, are we going to see a run that's not a full pole be a podium here today? Like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
But, you know, as we point out, every single rider that we've seen isn't holding anything back. I haven't seen one safety run yet.
You know why, Pat?
Because you can't.
Because it's Joyride, and there's no safety runs in Joyride. There's no crying in baseball, and there's no safety runs in Joyride.
So there is none other than Brett Rheeder, winner of the 2015 Crankworx Slopestyle World Tour. And interesting, when you talk about Brett Rheeder, all the pressures that he faced last year, and he admitted how he started to crack under that pressure. You kind of made mention that maybe pressure's off and he's in a different headspace. You talked to him this morning. How did his head seem?
You know, he seems really calm and objective about the task he has in front of himself right now. You can see the wind kind of rippling in his jersey right there, a little bit of a lull, so he's kind of just absorbing his surroundings right now, and he's not new to this scene anymore. He's performed under these circumstances so many times, and I think he's in a better place right now than he was last year with all that Triple Crown hype and pressure. So the pressure is what he puts on himself at this moment.
Just a slight tuff of wind as Rheeder's on course.
Wow, truck driver off that tiny little drop. That tail up the step up. Man, we are so lucky we get to see a Brett Rheeder run right here, Joyride.
He has every weapon in the arsenal.
Opposite fast plant 360 drop. Whoa! Backflip bar spin to opposite tail whip.
Unbelievable.
Where is he? Oh, okay, cool. We just missed him on the camera angle there. There he goes, regular rotated Quark 720 into his opposite rotated Quark 720. So perfect, this is ridiculous. A 360 double bar spin, overspinning on that hip. It looked like that was an opposite tail butt. Backflip bar spin to tuck no-hander down, getting a combo on a step down you usually only see on straight jumps. A backflip tail up on the cannon. Wow, this is a heck of a run, Pat. Bar spin over the skipper.
Flip up.
Front flip
Just the landing.
Into backflip one-footed can down. Full pull for Brett Rheeder.
Rheeder quite possibly just threw down historic, flawless riding.
Oh man, that's gotta feel amazing.
He tapped into that inner ninja that everyone talks about that he has. No signs of pressure.
When we talked to him this morning at breakfast, I had a feeling we were gonna see something like that. And watching him all season up to this point, you know, he's so refined. I'm so glad that he put it all together.
And this is what I love about Brett Rheeder. Unapologetic, always wants to bring something new to the table like this.
Look at that. That's an opposite fast plant 360 drop. You're seeing a couple guys do that, but they're doing their regular direction, and that's a backflip bar spin to opposite tail up. That's a huge combo. I haven't even seen him do it the regular version. He's doing it opposite, skipping a step, going right for the jugular. So we had the regular direction Quark 720, which we're seeing right now in super slow-mo. What is going through his mind right now? He just eyed up his landing, and then he pulls his shoulder around, flicks his head back to eye it up again.
I think insert word bubble, I'm killing it right now.
And you know, right after that Quark 720, went right into an opposite version. The front flip up, the flat flip, one-footed can down. That was a very well orchestrated slopestyle run, Pat.
Another one for the books on run number 1 of 2. Brett Rheeder. All smiles as the scores come in. 85.20. Does he do it? A 93. Brett Rheeder literally surpasses Johansson and now finds himself in a comfortable position in the top spot. Let's check in with Tina Dixon.
Well, Pat, that run was just jam-packed with difficulty. The 720 to the Oppo 720. I mean, it was just one after another, and you did it all the way down to the bottom. How redeeming is it compared to what you did last year?
Yeah, I know. Last year I had 2 crashes like right in a row, so to be down here right now is pretty special. It's such a long course, 2 features longer than last year, and we really haven't even ridden to the bottom till this morning, so doing all the best tricks, or all my best tricks down to the bottom. It's tiring.
You know, I was watching you earlier in practice, and you have been so calm. Has there been pressure this year compared to last year?
Not as much. Like we had the Triple Crown pressure last year, but this year it's more just personal pressure. Like I haven't done amazing, so yeah. Hopefully I can hold my score.
Well, what a way to start out. 93, guys.
Thank you, Tina. Yeah. What a moment as Brett Rheeder now finds himself in the top spot. He does such a good job at compartmentalizing the pressure, say, from Semenuk and the pressure from himself. He really channels that in such a great way.
And I think that's because he's been here for a few years and he really knows how to structure his thoughts, and the intricacies of that run is why he got such a huge score.
And you love to see new names at Joyride every year as Johansson finds himself in the mix with the usual suspects. And mentioned usual suspects, Brett Rheeder being one of them. That is why he's so well known. And usual suspect number 1, he's about to drop in. We've been watching him in practice throughout the week, and expectations could not possibly be higher. There's rumors that Semenuk is really going to bring something new to the table, currently 2nd in the world. How is he wired differently? How does he do it, in your opinion?
He brings something new to the course every year he has won so far. You know he's got secrets. Last year he released a video part right before the event, so everybody kind of had an idea. This year he's been quiet. He's been under the radar, and there's just been whisperings.
Yeah.
So right now, this is like opening up the present on Christmas morning. What has he got planned for us?
When Semenuk hits stealth mode, that's when you start to worry, when you haven't seen him and you haven't heard anything. Here we go, run number 1 for Semenuk. Can he eclipse Rheeder's score?
There we go, the fast plant 360 one-footed X up, a new variation, an opposite tail whip up. Already a Brandon Semenuk-esque run here from the man himself. Where did he go? Oh, he's got something special for us, Pat. I have a feeling I know what we're gonna see here. He might have his own unique run-in to this feature. He's somewhere in the woods with something big planned. As the helicopter hovers over the SRAM drop, Brandon Semenuk, did he fall off?
Yeah, it looks like came off course in the middle of that turn.
Oh, man.
Which is very unorthodox for Semenuk, so we'll wait to see. Hopefully
there he is through the woods. He must have been setting up really wide around that right-hand corner for what he has planned. Man, that is crazy. He just wasn't there anymore. It was like a Houdini trick.
Well, that's unfortunate. Definitely raises the stakes for Brandon in his 2nd run, because leading up to that, I mean, watching the back and forth between Semenuk and Rheeder the past couple years has been such a great game to watch, the rivalry and how they push each other.
Yeah, and you know, having Brett sitting in that hot seat with that run that he just threw down, Brandon is so good at just blocking that out and focusing on what he has to do, but he's also got a new kid sitting in 2nd place that he's going to try to beat too. So there's that opposite tail up. Now we really got to watch and see what happens. I know he's probably setting up as wide as possible around this right-hand corner. He must have lost his front tire off the left side of it when he went behind those trees, and we're not going to be able to actually tell what happened.
No one will ever know.
Smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, the mystery of Joyride before your very eyes. Well, good to see that he's walking up on his own volition there. Obviously, coming off some of these features, you don't think about it, but that in itself could be pretty treacherous.
Yeah.
So we talked about this graphic earlier. You look at the dominance the past 5 years. Brandon Semenuk, 4 wins. You get a ring, as you mentioned, with every Crankworx Joyride. How badly do you think he wants to finish that 5th finger with the?
He's got that one lonely empty finger, and I'm sure he sits at home in his room, puts them all on, and just goes, you know what? I got to decorate that thing.
Well, the next rider, as we talked about earlier, is the one that upset that 5-year run for Brandon Semenuk, none other than Tomas Genon. It's his birthday today as we celebrated earlier when he was talking with our own Tina Dixon, but let's talk about his meticulous approach and how it can pay off dividends here.
Well, you know, he does have that meticulous precision. There we go with the tail whip up. And today it's reminding me of what we felt in 2012 when he won. A lot of people weren't getting full pulls, so he's good under these circumstances. A 360 bar spin drop on the flat drop, 360 bar spin to signature tabletop from Genon. Opposite 450, really high amplitude on that left hip. Into the 4-pack, Pat. Backflip bar spin to tuck no-hander, getting the combination, linking it into a Cork 720, landing like Tomas Genon is known to land. There we go, that 450 tuck no-hander into the whale tail. What do we have? It was a double tail up and the 360 invert down. Into the giant cannon, flipping it so hard to flip when you have no radius transition on those cannon features. Into the on-off. 360 tuck no-hander down. Nobody else is doing that, Pat.
Cleanliness throughout.
Well, you know, you expect to see a guy like him do a full pull, but with what we've been seeing, I didn't know for sure.
So score to beat is a 93 as we take a look back up top. The Tommy Genon that we're expect on scene.
So 360 bar spin to flat table. He's the guy who's going to add in that style into those spinning variations, going both directions as well. The backflip bar spin to tuck no-hander, got the hands off real late, but he got them off. And slow-mo view of this Cork 720. Look at the body position. Just wrenching his neck backwards to get a peek at that landing. And with so many people messing up, Tomas Genon doing exactly what we'd expect him to do, landing smooth. Into the final drop, Pat. A 360 tuck no-hander. Bringing some BMX influence. You see BMX riders doing those downstairs, but he's the only guy you're seeing bring that to the slopestyle arena.
Massive 20-foot, 5-meter drop there, and he sticks the landing, no problem. The Belgian rider, the last non-Canadian to win this event in the past 5 years. As we look at the score to beat, and it is a lofty one set by Brett Rheeder, a 93. Johansson in second, and Anthony Messere rounding out the top three with that 81.6. We expect some decent numbers on that run, as it was clean, it was precise, and it definitely had the tech factor. Those components that Genon always relies upon.
I'm going to be really interested to see if he knocks Emil out of that second place spot. I don't think it had what he needed to bump Brett out of that spot, because Brett's run was like, I'm still like confused at how he did that all linked together in 14 features, but let's wait for that score.
So Genon, a tense moment as score starting to filter in, has to beat that 93, comes just below that, but he does knock Johansson, the Swede, down to third. So Tommy Genon into second place for the moment. Do you like those numbers?
I think those numbers kind of come together exactly the way you would expect, and I think Tomas Genon, you know, he's one of the few guys who's actually able to do what everybody set out to do, is get a good, solid first run in the bag, and then be able to experiment in the second run.
Well, we were hearing from Soderstrom earlier about another Swede. He's about to drop in as we look at our current standings. Brett Rheeder on top with a 93. That is going to be a tough one for any rider to eclipse. We expect a lot more from Semenuk. Those of you just jumping into the broadcast right now, Semenuk facing difficulties on his first run. So a DQ there, and he have to force everything into that last run. But we've seen Semenuk really rise to the occasion when pressure's on.
We've seen that happen before. I mean, this was a mysterious difficulty. We're still not exactly sure what happened to Brandon.
Sure. Max Fredriksson, the other Swede, up top, waiting to drop in. 7th in Rotorua, ultra smooth. He's hurt his hand in practice, says it's hard to hold his bars, and a lot of these riders, very, very difficult to hold the bars. Remember the format, 2 runs, best run counts. So you can't falter in that first run, or you can get a safety run and then add what you can do on the second run and just make it that much better. But we've seen a lot of riders just have difficulties getting from top to bottom.
Yeah, so far not too many safety runs. Max Fredriksson, it's very impressive to see him out here riding. He's got a very strained ligament in his hand. It might even be torn, but I asked him, so you're not going to ride? And he said, no, I'm still going to give it a whirl. So just definitely being a gladiator. It's so hard to get here. Doesn't want to throw it away. You know, he's going to fight through the pain.
He's been hanging with Anthony Messere while in Vancouver, and also got a chance to ride Logan Peat's backwoods jump. So what an honor Good week he's had.
You go the nose press 360 drop off of that start, then the tail whip up the step up. So does not look like he's riding injured, does he?
The next drop. Looking very strong off the top.
Truck driver down into the step up, back flip bar spin to the biggest extension on that tuck no hander we've seen so far today. Boosting that tail whip onto the hip. That wasn't, there we go, backflip tail whip on the first jump, and the second jump of the 4-pack with a 360 double bar spin.
Wow.
What's he got on the hip for us? A 360 tail whip. Looked like he messed up in the middle, but he regained composure, got those feet on the pedals. Into the Joyride cabin whale tail. The double tail whip down. He did that in practice. Everybody's talking about it. Oh no.
And a misstep on the landing up to that point. Potential.
I'm trying to figure out if he blew out his back tire. It looks like it's still got air in it. It's that berm right there. So many riders, if you're not landing absolutely perfect on that step down out of the cabin, it looks like they're not able to carry the speed through the berm. That cannon log is actually pretty long, so you need a lot of speed.
Potentially leading to some Swedish dominance on the podium. Could jump up there with Johansson as Fredriksson was putting together a brilliant run.
Looks like he's going to make his way to the bottom of the course here. You know, with how it's been going, just getting to the bottom of the course, obviously he's not going to have a really high score because he crashed, but there's so many riders who just didn't even ride the whole course. So let's take a look back, some of the key moments from that run. Watching this guy ride, you would never know that he's got a torn ligament in his hand. So slow motion view of this 4-pack jump right here. It's so slow, he hasn't even come into frame yet.
He's taking his time, that's what we do. Yeah, Max Fredriksson, when you talk about the Swedish contingent, it's just showcasing how much talent is coming out of there. And that run was just on its way to becoming a contender. It's just those, there's so many details. There's so many details and nuances of this course that you have to stick perfectly.
Absolutely, there's no room for error, not only with the tricks. A lot of times we just say there's no room for error, and we're referring to, get good extension, don't bobble your pedals, but really it's linking. It's the stuff in between the trickable features right now where you have no room for error.
And when you have scores in the 90s, that's exactly what it takes. Not just a top to bottom clean run, you need to have that run just layered, seasoned, curated, marinated with progression from top to bottom, and that's what Brett Rheeder put together, and that's how you get into the 90s. So difficult times there for Fredriksson, but we're all focused on our last rider of his first run of 2. Remember, the format is this: 2 runs, best run counts, and there has been so much discussion what Nikolai Rogatkin has been up to, and it's all about the tricks, the rotation, and it was the 1080 that shook the world, and everyone was woken up to what is possible on a bike with Nikolai Rogatkin. Walk us through the 1080 that we witnessed down in Rotorua, New Zealand.
So when people see this court 1080 from Nikolai Rogatkin, they're like, what in the world was that? All they see is just a ton of spinning. So it's come time for us to break it down. All right, right here, this is where he initiates the rotation, and the key thing to realize here is look at his right elbow. He's actually leading with the top shoulder, pushing off the lip, kind of like a front flip. All right, take it from there. So in the middle of the rotation, stop it right there. All right, look at his body. He's like a straight pencil. When you watch figure skating and they bring all their limbs in to conserve their angular momentum, they're trying to maintain that initial spin that they started off the lip. So now stop it again, and he's kind of tucking his body a little bit. He only has 180 degrees left to go, so it's time for him to start eyeing up the landing. On in this trick, he has the fortunate situation of being able to look right down and decide if he needs to open up to spin a little bit more or stay tucked to slow himself down. In this one, he came a little bit under-rotated, but had the composure to be able to not even drop a foot.
And the scary thing is, there's talk of more. We don't know what we're going to see here today, but those close to the Nikolai Rogatkin camp are saying he's been very busy in the lab, working, perfecting stuff, and he knows that's exactly what he needs to bring here. He's been currently filming for Peaking, a great series on Red Bull TV, and can't wait to see the inner workings of his mind, because he definitely takes a unique approach.
He has the tricks to win. He has tricks that nobody else is doing. And we talked about how when Brandon has won here in the past, he's done something that people weren't expecting. There are rumors that Nikolai Rogatkin has something that we would not expect, something perhaps new. We may see it very early on. So I'm pretty excited to see him drop in. Right now, score to beat Brett Rheeder. Pat, what about that run, that score?
A 93, so Rogatkin, the last rider to drop in on his first of 2 runs. Remember, it is best run that counts, so we'll re-rack the order as Rogatkin getting to ready.
There we go, the caveman running off the drop, holding onto his bike, throwing it under his feet. That wasn't the trick I was referring to, but that was definitely unique. We haven't seen that yet today. Okay, the fast plant 360. He's been doing that at every contest smoothly. Oh no! The corked 7 coming up short. A trick that he's been doing at every event so far this year with flawless perfection, going very sour for him here at Joyride.
With the rider, with Rogatkin's the level that he rides at, you're shocked to see that. I mean, literally, it's scary to think that when you have anything corked on lock, but that's a trick that I can't remember the last time I've seen him go down on that.
No, he does it consistently, not only in every event so far this year, but in practice. You know, we're so used to seeing him just stomp that like clockwork every run in practice. So to see him coming up that short on it here, I don't know if it's the pressure, if it's the wind. We're going to take a look back at the replay. Maybe we can figure this out. So rotation starts nice, but you know what? That jump is like a spine. The lip is so incredibly steep, and the gap is actually pretty long for how steep the lip is. He just went higher than he needed to. He needed to take some of that speed and push it further in distance, but he's going to continue on, ride the rest of this course. I'm not sure if he's going to try to do tricks because so many people have been bailing. Yes, he is. A cash roll on the first jump with a 4-pack. Wow, front flip tuck no-hander, clapping his hands in front of his front tire. A triple whip on the hip. He's like, I don't care if I crashed, I'm gonna nail this run. Tuck no-hander up, into the whale tail, backflip down. You know, he'll still get a score if he tricks every...
Oh yeah, and a chance to smooth out his run for run number 2.
There we go, tail up going long on the giant cannon. Into the final on-off, front flip up. And no trick down. So obviously a crash, obviously some holes, but he made it to the finish corral and a little taste of what we can see in next run.
I'll tell you what, Rogatkin definitely has so much more left in the tank, and that's a scary thing for Brett Rheeder sitting on top with the 93. He knows he has to put everything he has in that run. Just a very surprising fall for Rogatkin, something you don't see every day.
So I actually think that he was planning on doing a safety run. It just didn't work out. So let's take another look. It looks like we're going to see this cork 7. Well, you know, that trick that I was referencing, he didn't decide to throw it in the first run, so that hints at maybe that was supposed to be a safety run.
All right, well, let's hear from Nikolai Rogatkin. He's with our own Tina Dixon.
Well, he did finish his run, and Nikolai, you will get a score, but what happened on that cork 720?
Well, that jump is just insane, and yeah, I guess I just didn't have enough speed, pulled too hard. As soon as I come around, I said, oh no, cased. But you know, Whistler people gave me some love, so came down, setting most of the rest of my run, you know, and I'm gonna have to go up and do it in run 2, so yeah, it's not gonna be easy, but we'll see.
What's the anticipation like as you wait between now and run 2?
Say it again?
What's the anticipation gonna be like while you wait between now and run 2?
Oh, the nerves are always there, the same nerves that I just had now, but I'm obviously eager to get back up there and try to get it again.
Well, and I know the fans are eager to watch you do a full run, guys.
Thanks, Tina. Yeah, on pins and needles right now, and we always talk about the atmosphere here, but when you have that many riders have difficulties, and then you have a rider like Brett Rheeder rise to the occasion, it really sets a tenuous tone here in Whistler, and you can feel it. Everyone anxiously awaiting the second runs where it's the best run that counts as we finish out looking at the top 16, and there's a sight you don't see all that often. Brandon Semenuk in 16th place with that disappointing fall up top, and anything can happen here in run number 2. We've got much more to come here from Crankworx Whistler for sure. Once again, I want to remind everyone that we're all about giving the power to the people. What I'm talking about is the Red Bull TV Analyzer. It makes you the director. Simply click on the bottom left. Get through the event, the runs, the crashes, the favorite riders, and the best part, you can share your favorite moments via social media. It's the Red Bull TV Analyzer. Trust me, it's worth the journey.
Fade out everything. You don't want to mess up on this thing.
Urbex. Enter at your own risk. All episodes available on Red Bull TV. There is a place that lies behind the walls of concrete and steel. To get there, we need look no further than our own imagination. Break free and enter the world of Unreal. Available on Red Bull TV.
As we anxiously await the dropping in of the second runs, let's check in again with Tina Dixon.
Thanks, guys. Well, what an interesting turn of events that we have had there in the end of those first runs, you know, with Brandon going off, Nikolai not completing his run. Well, he did complete it, but he had that fall. You know, I talked to the guys. They said this is not only the biggest course, it's also the longest course they have seen ever. You know, many of the events they do, 7 features. This event, 14 features, and by the time they get to the bottom, they are absolutely winded, out of breath, especially when they hit this bottom drop. It is massive. They're going to want to be on it. But guys, with the drama that we just saw at the end of run 1, run 2, wow, we're in for a really dramatic finish, guys.
Thank you, Tina. Yes, maybe the CrossFit Crankworx Challenge, because stamina has definitely been the name of the game, getting those full pulls. We're now joined by Tyler McCall, Martin Straderstrom. You guys, welcome to the booth. First and foremost, I want to get your opinion, what you've seen so far. You've seen a lot of Crankworx in your days, but what do you make of the course and what the riders have been going through?
Yeah, I think we can really see the evolution of the sport here today. I mean, they're almost going like so hard. It's like a best trick contest the whole way down. And I think that's also, I mean, we can also see that many people go down. And that's like, you have to be on that level to be up there. Like, and yeah, it was really cool to see the high level.
And Tyler, I know it takes a lot to move the needle for you. What do you take from the first runs of 2?
I was just watching practice, and some of the riders were doing runs that would have won 3 years ago in practice, every run, which is insane. But yeah, like Martin said, you got to do your best tricks on every single thing. Things that would have won a best trick contest a couple years ago are on every jump. So it's crazy, and everyone's kind of trying to lay it all out there, and people are making mistakes. It's a little windy for them, but I'm curious to see what's going to go down in second runs, and who knows.
How about some names? I know you've been throwing around a lot of guys that could upset the balance. Let's get your take on.
The story for me right now, and one that we really haven't had a chance to really delve into, is the intricacies of Brett's run. Like the fact that he did the backflip bar spin to tail, but it was an opposite tail, you know? And like, I haven't seen him do a backflip bar spin to tail in a contest run, so that would be amazing in itself if he did that here. He saved that, he hit it, but he did it with the opposite tail up. So that really goes to show he knows how to win here. He knows that every time Brandon has won here, he's kept some secrets, and he's doing just that. He's sitting in the top spot right now. What do you guys think about, like, does he have any more if he has to?
Yeah, that's the crazy part about slopestyle also today, that it almost feels like people are almost holding back all year to stay healthy for like Joyride. Like, you have to be smart. It's so dangerous now, and so many injuries that you just save yourself, and then on Joyride, you unleash everything.
Yeah, the stakes are that high. How about a rider that you'd like to talk about that maybe needs some mention?
I'm pretty fired up to see Ryan Nyquist out here. Yeah. I'm sure you guys have already said it, but he's got at least 15 years on most of the guys out here.
I'm
and
biased.
Most people would see that as a downfall and be like, man, you know, I got to get out of it. I'm old. But he uses it to his advantage, and he brings more experience to this hillside than anybody could possibly fathom. Yeah. And I think he had a top 3 run going.
Yeah.
He runs these crazy small tires that we've told him are too sketchy, and they're going to blow out. But he's just
there it is.
He's really relying on having light tires for all his stuff. And yeah, super proud of him. Ride with him a lot at home. And hopefully he gets it down in second run. We'll see.
I believe you guys were there when he was learning threes on a mountain bike for the first time in Santa Cruz, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just he's a humbled, grizzled veteran. I gotta shift gears and ask you about the Swedish connection. You're always good for that. But let's talk about Johansson. I think he surprised a lot of people, not you maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, from the oldest to the youngest. Dude, that's insane. It's he really paved way, I would say, for the younger riders. And yeah, just look at this run.
When did he learn to whip drops?
I heard he learned oppo whip drops yesterday or something.
It's so awesome to see. I mean, as I said here before in the live feed, it's he doesn't have an airbag. He doesn't have a foam pit. He really learns the way we used to back in the day. He have a small mulch jump, but he's just really dedicated and he's doing all of his tricks. So then when he comes to a big course like this, then he can just do them. He have the right mentality, and man, I'm so proud of him for what he's been doing today.
He mentions you were an integral part helping him out. That school that he goes to, we talked about it earlier, where it allows him to ride bikes. We caught up with him last night and he said the jumps aren't great, as you mentioned, but it just speaks volumes of how much natural ability he has, that he's not on perfect jumps all the time, but then when he is around perfect jumps, he's learning tricks on the fly.
Yeah, for sure. And also I'm really impressed how he handles the pressure. I mean, many people can do the trick, but it's not everyone who have the mindset to actually do it when it really counts. And I mean, doing it here on the biggest contest all year, couldn't be more proud of him.
Well, I appreciate you guys jumping in the booth. I know all eyes are going to be fixed on us. Sit around just for a bit. We got more things to cover right now. Let's send it down to Tina Dixon. Tina?
Thanks so much, and I'm hoping to talk to the judges up there. Paul Rack, do you have me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hold on,
Awesome.
let me turn you up a little bit. Yes, I can hear you, Paul. How's it going up there?
Oh, it's going great. It's a little crazy.
Yeah, quite a finish there on the end of first runs. Well, let's talk about Brett Rheeder's run, because it was just packed full of difficulty. I could go down the list and name all the tricks, but we could be here all day. So how did you judge that, and where did you find the deductions?
Well, pretty much that run was fantastic. He threw down trick difficulty variety. He pretty much satisfies the criteria, and hence that's why he's where he's at right now.
So with Brandon not completing his run, Nikolai not completing his run, what are these guys going to have to do to top that 93 score?
Whew, this is where the pressure kicks in. This is one more run to do the run that they have to do. And I can't imagine the pressure they're under, but I'm hoping it's going to be amazing.
You know, it seems like not having pressure is paying off at this event. From Emil to Brett, do you think that's going to be key here?
You know what? I think these guys, in some cases, they deal with pressure really well, because this is day in, day out for them. And you know what? You still never know at these events. You never know till it's over. And I'm hoping for a good show.
Yeah, well, all of these riders do have one more run. Paul, thank you for speaking with us.
Yeah, no
Pat,
problem.
send it back to you.
Pat, Paul, I got a question for you. So we're seeing something crazy happen this year. You know, the last few years it's just been precision, so many full poles, and then you're just kind of splitting hairs for the scores. Right now we're seeing a lot of guys like have crashes and then get back up. Are you guys still scoring those runs because seeing so many people crash, it may actually matter? Some of those crashes could actually end up in the top 10?
Well, actually, this event is pretty interesting, because these crashes for the second runs are going to be re-racked. So these guys are going to be dropping in a totally different order from first run. And that's definitely going to throw us for a bit of a twist, because I believe our first run dropping in for second run might be a bit of a banger.
Oh, yeah. Brandon with the unique line choice in the woods, so we might be seeing him first, right?
Yeah, definitely harder for calibrate for sure. But permission to get on the Joyride pulpit pundit, if you will. What do you guys make so far of what we've seen and where the numbers are? It's always hard when you have something like a new trick unleashed versus the cleanliness, but Brett Rheeder had all of that.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, that's the hard part, and some guys do like huge tricks on some parts and then maybe haven't practiced as much on flat drops or step downs. So I would not want to be the judge in this one, and they have probably one of the hardest jobs out here today. But I mean, Rheeder is, that run was so impressive. So I think that's the right first for sure.
How about you, T-Mac? Where do you see the numbers in the right
I think
category
they're in the
so
right
far?
spot,
Yep.
and it would be very hard to find anything that was wrong with Brett's run. I don't know what he could possibly do better, but I know he definitely has stuff on reserve, which is insane. I think he dodged a bit of a bullet with Brandon screwing up, but you know Brandon's going to pull out all the stops for this run because he has to. So.
We've seen him mess up first runs in the past and then come back and win. So yeah, we're not used to seeing him at the bottom of the leaderboard starting first, but we have seen it before, and we've seen it go his way before too.
There's been some exciting firsts here at the 2016 Joyride. Now for an update with another first. You're going to be interested to hear this with Tina Dixon.
I am now down here with two very special guests. That's right, I'm here with Darren Kinnaird, the general manager of Crankworx, and Karin Seiler, the CEO of Innsbruck Tourism. Yes, we're talking about Innsbruck, Austria. She has traveled all the way across the pond. Why? Because we have a very special announcement. 3 stops just wasn't enough for Crankworx. So in 2017, there will be 4 stops, and Innsbruck, Austria will be the 4th stop. This is very exciting news, Karin, and a place that's hosted events like the Olympics, Air and Style, and now Crankworx. What kind of commitment level do you guys have towards mountain biking?
Our commitment is that we have the same, where we are proud of and well known in winter for hosting big events, for being a winter destination, becoming also known our summer destination. So we are really overwhelmed getting Crankworx to Innsbruck because we call it's our air and style, and it fits perfectly to Innsbruck. It's a spirit there of sports. People love sport, also the locals. It's the city which is the closest to the mountains. It has an airport. You fly in, 15 minutes later you are on the trail. So it's our commitment to make the bike world showing Innsbruck off, and yes, having an exciting event.
I'm sold. I'm ready to book my plane ticket right now. 15 minutes from the airport to the mountain. Darren, what can Innsbruck expect from an event like Crankworx?
Well, it's the world's largest mountain biking festival coming to one of the most beautiful cities in the Alps. And they can expect all the action, the world's best athletes, the world's best slopestyle, downhill, pump track, you name it, all the best athletes. The whole mountain biking world will be descending on Innsbruck, Austria, and we can't wait to bring everyone there.
Well, Crankworx, 4 of the best mountain biking locations in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your 2017 Crankworx World Tour.
Tina, thank you so much. Wow, the excitement level just cranked up another notch. 4 stops for next year, and what a great addition for sure.
Big news, yeah, what a great excuse to go check that place out. You know, that's all we're ever looking for is a great excuse like a Crankworx festival to go check out these iconic mountain biking destinations. Thank goodness we got another one.
Yeah, those of you just checking in across the world, we're in the midst of the first of 2, I should say, getting ready for the second runs to drop in here at Joyride 2016, the culmination of the 2016 Crankworx series, as we welcome everyone back to beautiful Whistler, British Columbia, nestled in the coastal range here, just ripe with riding trails for miles and miles, 4,900 vertical feet. That's just covering just the tip of the iceberg of what this place is offering to everyone.
And there's a reason there's so many people lining this course right now. It's because they're here to ride, but they're also here to spectate. Majority of the crowd, they ride too, so they know what it feels like, and they're really pulling for these guys. But look at the crowd on that aerial view.
Yeah, I did Top of the World 2 days ago, and I'm still feeling it.
Yeah, your hands, right?
Oh my gosh, I am sore beyond belief. As we look at the current standings after the first runs of 2, where best run counts, holding the 3rd spot, the young Swede, Emil Johansson. Tomas Genon in 2nd place, but Brett Rheeder, a rider that we're used to seeing on the podium, sometimes in the top spot, battled with consistency last year and now back to the form that he knows and loves, a 93, and it is going to take everything. You're going to have to throw in the kitchen sink, the back patio furniture, everything you have into your run to get it to contend with a 93.
Ooh.
And I want to remind everyone that social media poll is still up, alive, and running. Do you think Brandon Semenuk, hashtag yes Semenuk or hashtag no Semenuk, is going to take the win? Still, even with that mishap in his first run of 2, the fans are backing him, and I'm not surprised. There's a reason why people support Brandon Semenuk is because he possesses the skill set to dive deep when he needs to.
There's a saying, and it goes, history tends to repeat itself. And right now, I'm definitely conjuring up memories of when he's done this before, had a big bobble in run 1, come back and put it down in run 2. Can he repeat history here?
As we look at our start order, re-racked from the top, we'll go into Logan Peat, Thomas Zeta, Diego Caverzasi, Cam, Zinc, Ryan Nyquist, Matt Jones, Max Fredriksson, Szymon Godziek, Tomas Lemoine, and Mehdi Ghani to start things off on the second runs of 2. And there's been a lot of talk too about his new bike setup, what he's going to bring to the mix. Can you break that down for the fans that might not know what to look for?
Let's hint at something. We saw Tomas Lemoine doing a half cab off a drop. Brandon Semenuk is running a free caster, so he can pedal. He can ride backwards without having to pedal. Opposite tail up after that fast plant. 360X up down. This is where we're going to see something amazing. 180 to half cab off the drop. Wow. This is the first year we're seeing riders do that, and Brandon brings it to a huge drop. Casing the backflip tail, but keeping speed into the hip. No trick on that, just a tabletop. He needs to keep going. Oh, he's not tricking through the 4-pack. He wants all or nothing here, but he does not have another opportunity. That's going to be it for Brandon Semenuk. There will be no repeat, no 5th win. Pat, what are your thoughts on this?
It's crushed because you knew what he had in store. He was well within his way, and it's just unfortunate because you know the magic that he can put into a run. So obviously disappointment not just for Brandon Semenuk, but all the fans knowing what he's capable of.
Can we just open up the course for a 3rd run, please? I just want to see it, man.
Known for his flawless execution, and he literally knew that he had to bring everything to the table to contend with the 93
what else he's
set
known
by
for?
Brett
He's
Rheeder.
known for not being content with anything but the top spot, knowing that he messed up one trick. Instead of just trying to get a 2nd place, he just decided not to keep continuing with tricks on that run. So, I mean, regardless, this is an iconic, groundbreaking moment for the sport of slopestyle mountain biking. 180 setting up into the drop. Let's look at it again. And then he rides off the drop backwards, doing a half cab 180. But for years and years, we've thought that this sport is going to get to this point, and finally we're there. Brandon Semenuk, of course, the guy to bring it to the big drop. Look at that. Running the freecaster hub so he doesn't have to pedal backwards. He's able to just flick around that 180, but how do you judge the rotation when you're not even able to see where you're going?
And I think that's where it started to, rock off the line. He just a little overcooked, and then on the next trick got a little even more behind. So devastating for Brandon Semenuk. Was looking for a 5th win. Let's check in with Tina, who's with Brandon.
Yeah, well, I think everyone down here, including yourself, Brandon, wanted to see you complete that run. Let's go back to run 1, though, and what happened there?
I just need to get a lot of speed before the half cab, so I got to basically pedal through the corner and take a really wide line, and there's just lots of dirt skidded onto the boards, and I lost my front wheel just from some loose rocks on the wood.
And that happens in mountain biking. That slippery wood gets the best of us. Now, 2nd run, though. You had that switch 180, I mean, groundbreaking right there, and then stopped halfway down your run. What happened there?
I just had some headwind going into the jump, and I kind of knew I wasn't going to get the right distance, and just tagged a little bit, blew a foot, so, I mean, that's not going to cut it.
Yeah, and you're one to go all out or nothing, but Brandon, you've won this event 4 times. You have a ton of fans here. To just be out here and do a new groundbreaking trick like that, what does that mean?
I mean, it's cool, but it would have been the icing on the cake of a good run. Now it's just kind of, it's not much to me without a complete run.
Well, that's why you've won so many times here, Brandon. Thanks for your time.
So you can hear it in his tone. Obviously, Semenuk, known to be stoic at times, but known to be just unapologetic in his tone, that all or nothing approach, and it's why he is so revered and respected in this sport.
He pursues perfection.
Yeah.
He's been on the top 4 times, so to get 2nd place, it's not going to be a victorious feeling for him. And hearing his thoughts on that mistake, he had more planned. He said that was just going to be the icing on the cake of a big run. So who knows? We only got to see the little bit of wrapping paper peeled off.
Yeah, and we also saw the wrapping paper peeled off a lot of other riders on their first of 2 runs. We can't forget there's a handful of other riders yet to drop in on their 2nd run where it's best run count. Can anyone surpass the 93 set by Brett Rheeder? We saw a lot of young riders, new riders, the likes of Johansson, really rattle the cages of established veterans. And now is their chance to really make their mark. We talked about Logan Peat, spends a lot of time with Brandon Semenuk. I remember a few years ago was in the series Life Behind Bars, and you really got to see these guys in their element. The stamina, he has the wherewithal. He just has to put it together. A very odd fall that he had on his first run. Not something you expect to see from Logan Peat.
You don't expect to see him messing up on a tail whip, and he's the guy we said before where you expect him to have a full pull. If 50% of the field is having troubles, he's usually in that other 50 where he's going to be all right. but the crowd, the wind, all that stuff going through his mind. He's been looking great in practice. Obviously, this guy has a huge following. You mentioned Life Behind Bars. Everybody got to know him through that. Just a rad personality in the mountain bike field. So really looking forward to seeing him get that full pull. And there's a couple things in particular I've heard he was doing in practice that I'm excited to see here in the finals.
He attributes his calm and collected approach to just the practice he gets at home, and that's something that the fans need to understand, how much time these guys put in building jumps and spending time on them, perfecting their skill.
Yeah, and he's surrounded by Brendan Semenuk and Paul Genovese. You know, it's just normal to be sending banger runs every single day on their home course. So off the SRAM drop, 360. He had 360 bar spin in the first run, so keeping it a little bit more simple now, getting great extension and amplitude on that back foot bar spin to tuck no-hander. Not doing the tail up this time, opting for the tuck no-hander on the hip. Back flip tail up straight to pedals, landing on the landing on the first jump of the 4-pack. Bar spin to tail whip. Huge combination out of Logan. All right, getting the overspin 450 bar spin into the whale tail. Tuck no-hander up. What's he got on the step down? An opposite 360. And this is a crucial part of the course where we've seen a lot of people mess up, but not Logan Peat riding the berm high and flipping the cannon, a relatively new maneuver for him, flipping off that flat bank takeoff, backflip onto the on-off, and a 360 drop down. Full pull for Logan Peat.
Logan Peat definitely wants to add his name into the podium mix.
You know, that was a great run. Who knows?
And you really pointed it out where he got a little smarter, pulled back a little bit where he was having difficulties in that first run, and maybe that was the smart thing to do. So Logan Peat, all smiles after a success found on run number 2. Looking back up top.
Like you said, he altered his plan a little bit, and you know, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. That's what Mike Tyson had to say, and that's true to slopestyle as well. Logan Peat got punched in the face in the first run, and some of the stuff that he was doing in practice, he opted out of so that he could get this full pull run, because that's proving to be very important at this moment. So looking back at that run, we've got that Joyride cabin on off, the opposite 360, so technical to do spin your unnatural direction on a lip down with such a tall lip there. And we see riding that berm really high. Tons of riders have gone too low into that berm and lost speed, and the run ended there, but not Logan Peat.
So 93 is the score that you have to better to move into the top spot. Brett Rheeder still on top based on his first run of 2 scores. It is best run that counts here in the Joyride Finals. The culmination of a season-long marathon. Started off in Rotorua, then was on to Leger. Unfortunately, rain there, forcing a best trick, but the riders relentless in their approach to pushing the sport. We're seeing that again here today as all competitors pushing it to the level needed. Score to beat a 93, as I mentioned. Scores coming in for Logan Peat, an 83, so just outside of the top 3. The best he'll be able to do is 4th place.
You know, he's stood on so many podiums around the world. He has yet to stand on the Joyride podium, which can be surprising, but another year is going to pass without him touching that podium, but he's close to it at this moment. Will that 4th place hold up?
So a packed course as we're in the midst of the second runs of 2 at the 2016 Joyride Crankworx Whistler. And our next rider up, the Czech rider, 26 years old, been riding 13 years. One of the best Czech freestyle riders of all time. I was talking about how he sent in a sponsor me tape to Nitro Circus earlier this year, was able to ride. Obviously a big fan of Travis Pastrana. He's known for his combos. The question is, can he tap into that?
Here we go, 360 drop, start things off. You mentioned that he'd been riding the Nitro Circus show when they came to his town. And you know, that ramp, having the resi landing, it's great practice. And we've got some similar jumps on this course here, so will he bring something new to the table? 360 drop, lofty backflip, but without a combination. We know Tomas Zeta for his combinations and his huge extension on his Superman tail-ups. I'd like to see one of those from him in this 4-pack. A flip whip on the first jump, but throwing some dust, definitely coming up a little short, but maintaining enough speed to get through with that bar spin X. There is that tail-up Superman on that hip. That's classic Tomas Zeta. X up on top of the cabin, and a 360 down, smooth landing. He's got to stay high in this berm, Pat. Taking a pedal into the giant cannon and 360ing it. There we go, he's very close to a full pull. One last feature, the on-off bar spin up, and a 360 down. Perfectly smooth landing. There we go, Tomas Zeta. getting that monkey off his back.
And we talked about it earlier, how it's kind of great that they have that step down feature, getting a little bit back to the roots, but it allows these guys to really focus on the middle meat of the run. It's been great to watch these guys acclimate to that. As we jump back up top, Zeta starting off his run and sticking to the basics, but keeping it solid nonetheless.
So that'll hurt his score right there. A straight flip with no variation. He obviously wanted to have some sort of combo there, but if you look at how it's been scoring, so many people have crashed. For example, Nikolai, I think, is still sitting in 6th place, so getting a full pole, even if there wasn't some ideal tricks in there, is still important. Slow-mo replay right here on this backflip tail. Execution of the trick itself was spot on perfect. Look at that second foot linking up to the pedal, but watch the landing. We're gonna see a plume of dirt fly up. When you see a plume of dirt flying up, you know that means you're losing a lot of speed, so you're gonna have to push through the next jump. He did just that. Taking a look back at the cabin there, a smooth 360 off the step down and staying high in that berm.
Scores coming in. Tomas Zeta, a 72.6, a respectable 6th place. That'll be the best he can do, but we always anticipate a little shuffling of the numbers as we get down to the last group of riders where it's best run that counts. And we should remind everyone, for the overall Crankworx series, it's a numeric total. Your run score from Rotorua and your run score here added together. So it's really going to force these guys to take no victory laps, but we don't have to worry about that now. Everyone is pretty much locked into a non-victory lap. I think even if it got down to Brett Rheeder, he would want to further, based on his placing in Rotorua, he's going to have to bring something even new to the table on his second run.
He'll be doing math. He'll be looking at his 93 here and then what his numerical score was from Rotorua and how that stacks up with anybody else, and it really depends on how they finish. So it's possible he may know that he has enough points cumulative from Rotorua and Whistler to win, but it's like, you know, it's a little bit more complicated this year. It's not just your placings, it's those scores.
And I love the Italian story with Torquato Testa and Diego Caverzasi. These two are so passionate. He is unapologetically in awe of the course and the riders, and at times can't believe that he's in the mix like this.
Diego with a whip drop, starting things off, now coming into the SRAM drop. A 360 X up, landing nice and smooth. The backflip bar spin and tail up. Oh man, over rotated. I thought for a second he was gonna be able to salvage that. That's the trick that he used to win 26 tricks earlier on in the year, and that jump right there has so much more airtime than the jump that he did it on in Austria. He did not really, he needed to flip a little bit slower than usual. A lot of people are having trouble with that jump because it sends you to the moon.
We were watching both Torquato and Diego during the best trick in Leger, and they are not afraid to send it. It's such a great thing to see, but it's disappointing when he can't put it together in the run, because you know he has all the necessary ingredients.
Backflip bar spin, he gets the tail up all the way around. His rotation was just a little bit too much on the flip, and he was a little bit sideways as a result, so he slid out. But think about it like this. Nikolai Rogatkin crashed, got back up, finished his run. He's sitting in 7th place right now, if I remember correctly. So Diego, knowing that he can still get a top 10 right now if he puts together the last few pieces of this run. Front flip bar spin. Wow. So missing tricks, but also sprinkling in bangers as well. And this just shows how much of a keener he is. We talked about it before. He's like the first guy out here for practice. Oh,
could just tell, little short on that trajectory.
No, you can't keep this kid down. You know,
he laid it all out there for the fans, and I'm sure everyone's watching back home in Italy today. As
you know, we saw him crash run 1, and he sat down there for a little while, and we could tell when he got up it was more disappointment than pain, and I think that's what's going on right now too. He's been so immersed in this process here in Whistler, getting ready, and it's just like, wow, it's over. You know, it's all just settling into his brain right now.
Well, I think we can expect a lot more for many years to come from Diego Caverzasi, the Italian rider, showing a great promise, great progression, just couldn't get it together.
So Brett Rheeder dodges yet another bullet.
Oh, back to the top for the tenacious, the pugnacious. With Ryan Nyquist up top as Diego trying to work his way down. We talked about over, 16 X Games medals, 37 years old. And Ryan Nyquist has had success here before. You mentioned Jay Miron's Red Bull Elevation. Let's check in with Tina Dixon, who's with someone that knows a bit about Ryan Nyquist.
Yes, I am with Drew Bezanson, another BMXer trying to break into the mountain bike world. We have all seen him in the web series, A Learning Curve. Drew, how tough is it to transition from BMX to mountain bike?
It's definitely gnarly. And like as you see, there's a piece on Ryan Nyquist right now. He's trying to do it as well. And this is his second year doing it. And first year he had struggles as well. You can just see even these guys, like you never know what's going to happen. And the level of slopestyle these days is so high. It's going to take a little bit of lady luck for anybody to make it in.
Yeah, and I talked to Ryan yesterday, guys, and he said this course is massive and intimidating. Let's get to his run.
Thanks, Tina. Yeah, one of the most decorated BMXers in the history of the sport. He embraces the challenges of mountain biking. He actually says it's helped his BMXing. I mean, I can't impress upon the viewers more than how important it is that Ryan Nyquist is here with this validation stamp and what it means that he's willing to put in the hard work to make his place known in slopestyle mountain biking.
It says a lot about the current state of slopestyle mountain biking, but it also says a lot about this man himself. You don't see people in their 30s still competing here, and you sure as heck aren't used to seeing people in their 30s starting out, just like breaking into it in their 30s. Cam Zinc did his last ever run here at Joyride this morning, and Ryan Nyquist, he did his first ever run, and I have a feeling with the way things are going, we're not going to see him leave this scene anytime soon.
I've been, lucky enough to call some events way back, Vans Triple Crown, in some parking lots across the country. Just six packs of dirt lot, just basically made in the back of a mall. And Ryan has been doing it for so long. It's such just second nature to him. But it's like I said, it's so great to see how humble he is about it and how appreciative he is to all the riders that have really stepped in and helped him along the way.
Yeah, he's a straight-up icon. So for a lot of these riders to be side by side with him, somebody that they looked up to, I mean, there's not a single person who's ever thrown a leg over a bicycle who doesn't know who Ryan Nyquist is, and he's such a great personality that everybody always roots for him. You can't help but root for him. They say 16 X Games gold medals, but that's just the X Games. Like you were saying, he's won so many other events as well.
Left Greenville, North Carolina, the Mecca of BMX, moved to Santa Cruz, your old stomping grounds, and he is steadily improving his mountain biking game.
And being unique and creative, bringing his flair into things with that rocket suicide no-hander, a 360 drop off the SRAM drop, landing smooth, back foot bar spin catching early, huge amplitude points, and there's that overspin 720. That is a Ryan Nyquist signature right there. Let's get a full pull for Ryan Nyquist. Backflip, one-handed X up. Into the second jump of the 4-pack, 360 one-handed X up. Now this is going to be an opposite rotated 360 suicide, overspinning on the hip, more of a 450 into the cabin. Backflip, bar spin up, off the whale tail, a backflip. Come on, Ryan Nyquist, you got this.
So good. Good reaction there from Nyquist.
A nothing off the cannon in the wind. What an animal. Come on, Nyquist, here we go. Two last trickable features, truck driver up. Last drop, 360 down, can he land it? Yeah!
Ryan Nyquist got everyone to their feet. A sigh of relief. He knows the magnitude of that run, how big this course is, and what that means for him. The work, the dedication that has taken over 2 years, and Nyquist to make his way to the ultimate event in slopestyle riding here at Joyride at Crankworx.
Man, he put in the time, he earned his way here, and now he proved he belongs. I have never heard anything so loud. The crowd just exploded. Look back at the replay. Perfect landing on that overspin 720. He's got to spin more than a 720 because it's a hip to the left, and he spins to the left. First jump in the 4-pack. A backflip, one-handed X-up, and the way Ryan Nyquist does X-ups, he takes them past 180, so you're only supposed to take the bars just to halfway, but to just add that signature Ryan Nyquist flair, look at that. That's 270 degrees on the X-up. Did it with the flip, he did it with the 360. Man, he just filled in all the blanks on that run.
Something that he's done over a spine in the bike park probably over 5,000 times, but a little different when you're clearing 20 feet. But that was the amazing thing, that he had enough wherewithal to get that 3 up after casing leading into that. So just there's that tenacity. There's that tenacity I'm talking about.
Exactly. That's the biggest drop he's ever 360'd for sure.
So scores coming in, a 78.2. Ryan Nyquist, 6th place for the moment. Let's send it down to Tina Dixon, who's with a smiley Ryan Nyquist.
Yes, and Ryan, you had to fight your way to this event to have just done what you did. How was the payoff?
Man, that was everything. It's crazy to do a run and then like get a flat tire and have to like regroup and then do a second run. But like honestly, I was just like sweating that drop so hard, and just knowing that I had to do something and 360 was going to be it. And I'm just so glad it worked, because it was honestly for me like that's the biggest thing I've ever done, like, and the scariest thing for sure. And it just, when you trust yourself and you trust your skills, and then you just go for it and it pays off, man. That feeling is what I live for.
Well, and this whole crowd just erupted in cheers, guys.
Thanks, Tina. Well-deserved, my friend, well-deserved. Ryan Nyquist, 6th place for the moment, and definitely for himself a career best in this discipline, and it's going to be great to see him just continue to work his way up as we go right back to the top. The buzz building about this next rider. We talk about how mentally strong he is. 22 years old as we're getting ready for Max Fredriksson. And Szymon Godziek, as I mentioned, Mehdi Ghani and Nikolai Rogatkin still to come on their second runs.
Like we said before, battling that pulled ligament in his hand. He said yesterday it might even be torn. And I just assumed, well, obviously you're probably not riding today. No, he said, no, I'm going to go for it. You know, he earned his way here. Like we said so many times, it's so hard to get here. So he's not going to throw that away. Maybe in pain, but he's been riding so well in practice, and that first run was looking great. So second run, man, looking to staple a nice score in the run number 2 here, 2016 Red Bull Joyride.
So Ryan Nyquist dishing out the high fives for all the fans. One of the cool aspects of Crankworx is the accessibility. You go on any of these trails, you're going to end up running into one of your heroes. These kids know it.
The trails are iconic. The people you're going to run into on the trails are iconic. This is truly the hotbed, the epicenter of mountain biking. That's why we get such a great turnout every year. You can see Max Fredriksson there gauging the wind. When you see the flags ripping, you see the jerseys rumbling. I mean, during Nyquist's run, it was incredibly windy. You saw him come up a little bit short on the skipper before the final feature. It was reminiscent of when he won Red Bull Elevation in 2007 under windy circumstances. Wind definitely separates the men from the boys. Max Fredriksson's showing he is one of the men dropping in right now.
And look for the update with Matt Jones. He should have gone before Fredriksson, but we'll...
Wow, double truck driver. Max Fredriksson at 360 with 2 bar spins. Huge extension on that backflip bar spin to tuck no hander. A double tail up on the hip. Max Fredriksson through the 4-pack. Backflip tail up catching early, pumping the speed in the bull. 360 double bar spin. This is looking on point for Max. 360 tail up, even smoother than he had in the first run.
Pushing through that ligament pain and looking unstoppable right now.
You would never know with moves like that double tail up on the step down of the whale tail. This is where his run went bad before, but he's got it now. Backflip tuck no hander on the giant cannon, bar spinning the skipper. 2 last tricks for Max Fredriksson. Bar spin to bar spin back. 360 bar spin.
An irrefutable contending run right there. Potentially, we could find 2 Swedes in the top 5.
Look at that.
Swedish House Mafia has taken over the base area. Wow. That's all
There's
you can
so
say.
much camaraderie in that finish line corral. Everybody is so high on adrenaline. And you know you're excited when you land, but you're just as excited when you see your buddies land their run.
Let's jump right back up to the top where it started oh so right for Fredriksson.
Oh, double truck driver. Yes, he didn't get a score in the first run that he was happy with because he didn't make a full pull, but he's already amping it up. He didn't just cut and paste his safety run to the second run. He improved it with that double tail up off of the whale tail. We had a double tail up here on the hip. I mean, that nose press 360 off the top was so tech, and then into the 4-pack here with our replay, the backflip tail up coming up a little bit short, but knowing he has the pump to be able to make it over that second jump in the 4-pack. Bar spinning the skipper, you're not seeing everybody trick that, a bar spin to bar spin back step up. So consequential with not so much setup time before that drop.
So where is he going to find himself in the mix of the sport's top riders? Here today in Whistler, the score to beat a 93 to move to the top spot. Second run, definite improvement.
Oh!
We have a lot of movement on the leaderboard. Second place in 89.
That look on his face. He's like, is this real life?
A sigh of relief as our current leader Brett Rheeder, a 93, as the rest of the field is just getting closer and closer.
That's almost too close for comfort for Brett
89
Rheeder.
is sitting on 93, and that's why we don't expect a victory lap by no stretch. The one-upmanship that we're starting to see on the second runs of 2 is just astounding so far. And we saw with Fredriksson's first run, we knew if he could just get that second half, but he added more to it.
Yeah, and I wasn't expecting the flip tuck no-hander on the cannon. A trick like that off of the cannon is always going to score high. He had the double whip down, like so amazing to see him go into second place. I don't even think he was expecting that.
And this is a scary thing when you have a rider that's riding with this much confidence.
Oh, no. Wow, only rider in the field front flipping that teeny tiny start drop. Having that feature on the course really mixes things up because it's hard to trick. It's hard to get around rotational tricks on something so small. Szymon Godziek, the only guy trying to do a front flip, not getting all the rotation. Let's take another look back at that. He looks to be all right. Probably pretty frustrated because he had so many tricks throughout this course. There we go, the front flip he initiated nicely. He may have opened up just a little bit too early, and with the front flip being so blind, he wouldn't know that he had to stay tucked.
And I think that hammers home the point of the risk versus reward factor when you do something like that on the feature, why it needs to be rewarded. There's a lot of risk there. Something goes wrong in that first feature, your day is done.
Yeah,
your bags are packed.
You're not going to get a good score if you only hit one feature, so you're right about that.
Tomas Lemoine up top. French rider, talked about his renaissance skills. Doesn't matter if it's in the pump track, the slope style, across the board. Well-versed in all disciplines. But it's tough to say what he can't do at this point. Just has to put together the run that we've seen in practice. He just needs to link all those tricks together. He definitely has everything needed.
Let's remember what he messed up in his first run. It was that 360 double tail up on the second jump of the 4-pack. The trick looked nice. It was just a little bit over-rotated and a little bit front tire high, and he washed out. But if he can get through that and piece together the rest of that run, I know he's got a lot planned for the rest of the course. Like you said, we've been watching him in practice, but this is where it all counts, and this is the last opportunity to hammer it home. He started his run out with the first ever 180 to half cab off of a flat drop. We saw Brandon do that in his run. Lemoine's doing it off the first feature, which is a little bit smaller, but still, with this being the first day we've seen that trick happening in slopestyle, it still carries some heavy weight, so it'll be interesting to see how the judges score that, because we've seen it twice, but we haven't seen it in the context of a full pull run.
Lemoine, 19 years old, comes from BMX roots, but as we pointed out, has had amazing success no matter what he has touched on 2 wheels. And currently 5th in the world. And we are in the midst of the second runs where best run counts. Still, no one has been able to catch Brett Rheeder. He posted a 93 on his first run. It is best run that counts. But Fredriksson just shook the foundation here in Whistler Village, an 89.8. Unbelievable run. Former winner here, Tomas Genon, 86.8, rounding out the top 3. But keep your eyes on Johansson at 85.2. Expect movement, expect challengers. It is far from over here at Crankworx 2016 Joyride, the final event of the series.
Looking at Tomas Lemoine here, potentially waiting out the wind, waiting for the right opportunity to drop.
There's been these gusts, and as we like to say, this just in, it's difficult to ride in the wind. Especially when you're dealing with 20 to 22 foot gaps. Not something you want to be greeted with when you're midway rotation.
And just a minute ago on the screen, we just saw that plume of dust, that little dust tornado behind Tomas Lemoine, so he's obviously feeling that. And waiting an extra 30 seconds may make all the difference in the world for him.
Also on a lot of minds of the riders as we look forward to the final event of the season off on its own standing, but the Red Bull Rampage will be bringing everyone up to speed a little bit later in the show. You don't want to miss that. Some exciting news for Red Bull Rampage as we get underway. Lemoine dropping in, run number 2.
Wow, there's that 180 to half cab off. He's not running a free coaster, so you saw him actually pedaling backwards. A tuck no-hander to manual. The crowd loves that. That's something they can all relate to. We talk about his bike skill, and that was evidence of that right there. 360X up off the drop. Backflip, double bar spin on the step up for Tomas Lemoine. Bar spin to tuck no hander. He's on a good one, Pat.
And if you notice, barely pedaling, sometimes never in his runs.
Because he's so good at carrying speed. There we go. He switched up the trick on that. That's where he crashed last time. So not doing that 360 double whip. There we go. A 270 inward table into the Joyride cabin whale tail. Tuck no hander to bar spin. Huge combo up. 360 bar spin down. Combos all across the board right here. Fitting so much into every feature. A 360 tuck no hander on the giant cannon. Very unique. X up on the skipper. A front flip up for Tomas Lemoine. What does he have down? Tuck no hander down. Full ball.
You know what? He could have gone chainless on that. Unbelievable run for Lemoine, 19 years old, and throwing it down when he needed to get it done in the second run. Wow.
The bike skill involved with that run. Let's take it back up top to where he got so incredibly technical. Doing a 180 before the drop, pedaling backwards, and then 180 from his backwards position. We saw that tuck no hander to manual, and the crowd absolutely loved that. Everybody loves a good manual, but that just shows how much bike skill he has. So we had the 360X up off the drop. Now let's take a look at the cannon. 360 tuck no hander. We saw Genon do that on the final drop, and he got a great big score. A cannon log is a similar type feature, so I'd expect that to score well. The tuck no hander on the last drop, obviously not a rotational trick, but with how many people aren't finishing runs, just getting something on everything is so important.
So smooth. Incredible style there from Lemoine on his second run. Exhausted and deservedly so.
Oh man, that's a lot of bike riding.
And just an incredibly packed house here today. The most crowded we've seen throughout the week. And it's been an incredible week here at the Crankworx series. Has to better an 86.8 to crack into the top three. That's held by Belgian rider Tomas Genon. Fredriksson, the Swede, in second, and Rheeder on top with a 93, as judges really wanting to look at this closely and get the numbers right.
So many combos, but also just the tuck no hander on the drop. So, you know, it's going to be a tough one for the judges.
And these are those moments. It doesn't get any more tense as a rider. As you can see,
they'll spend some time on this one, I
Yeah.
think. It's because of how much he packed into some of the features, you know, with the multiple combos, and you know, this is the first time they're going to have to figure out how to score a 180 to half cab, you know, riding off of a drop backwards, which is new as of today for the sport of slopestyle. How do they handle that?
The riders are really forcing the judges, to recalibrate everything and rethink how they're approaching that overall score. It's been an interesting Crankworx from start to the finish when we get there.
Absolutely. We're getting close, but man, there's still a lot of action to come.
So scores for Lemoine, they've definitely taken their time. And an 81, a steady improvement, but the best he'll be able to do is 7th. So definitely can hold his head up high with the 81. As we take a look at the current standings, still with more second runs of 2 to take their final drop. The score has yet to be eclipsed, and that is a 93 set by Rheeder. Rheeder has yet to take his second run. See Max Fredriksson, the young Swede, in second place, and Tomas Genon, 86.8. We expect definitely some rumblings, some movement. What are you anticipating?
Well,
get clairvoyant on me. I always love when you do this.
Run 2 is looking a whole lot different than Run 1. We're not seeing any riders in the top 8 anymore who didn't have a full pull without a crash. So one guy we're really going to be looking for is Medigani. Obviously, we're going to be looking toward Nikolai Rogatkin because he's one of our focuses for this event because he's on such an upward trajectory and he has so many secrets planned for this event. But Medigani always wanted to shake things up.
Well, you mentioned Medigani, one of those riders still moving up in his place in the sport, inspired by the late, great Dave Mira.
Now that is
huge.
huge.
Those unlock, yeah.
We cannot pass by how difficult that is to flat flip off of that tiny little drop. I think it's only 4 feet tall. Medigani, the only guy doing it here in the finals. In the 360 drop, off the SRAM drop, into the step up, backflip, triple bar spin, somehow holding on through a minor over rotation, but not even slipping a pedal, and then flip whipping the hip. So hard to do on a hip jump.
Amazing correction.
Backflip bar spin to tuck no hander on jump 1, cork 720 on jump number 2. This could really shake things up, Pat. A 270 on the hip. into the Joyride cabin whale tail with a bar spin up, a backflip bar spin down, holding it together, almost landing before being prepared, squirreling out in the burn, but still getting the flip tuck no-hander on the giant cannon.
Mehdi Ghani muscling through with one of his best runs ever.
Tuck no-hander up through the wind, flat flip down. There we go. There we go, Mehdi.
Mehdi Ghani just put together the best run I've ever seen from him right there when he needed it most.
I would say you're right.
Yeah,
That's a career highlight right there under the most high pressure of circumstances.
He has the variations. We talk about him being a journeyman. He has put so much to get where he is now, and it's great to see the payoff here in 2016.
So we need uniqueness in a run, and we have it right there with the backflip triple bar spin. We had it with the flat drop flip off the start drop, which is small, and then flip whipping the hip, which adds an extra degree of difficulty because you have to actually turn before getting to the landing, the backflip bar to tuck. And right now we're gonna go super slow-mo on that backflip bar spin to tuck no-hander. And it's really important that the hands not only come off, but they get completely extended. Mehdi Ghani really fulfilling all those criteria on the judges' scorecards. And this...
And you have to give him extra credit for just pushing through, showing the resilience, pushing through some maybe less than stellar landings, but was able to ride through it.
Well, less than stellar conditions too.
Yeah.
You could see him get kind of kicked sideways by the wind on the tuck no-hander on the step up, but still getting that flat drop flip down on the final feature.
Able to persevere, and that's what you love to see, that balance of perseverance and progression. Mehdi Ghani, once again, really forcing the judges to get the abacus out and really hone the numbers perfectly.
With what we're seeing right now, I almost think that all the falters we saw in run one was more due to nerves than it was conditions, because it's actually windier now, but we're seeing better, more flawless riding.
So the stakes couldn't be possibly higher here today at the final stop of the 2016 Crankworx season. Mehdi Ghani definitely tapping into a gear that we haven't seen, and it's a great thing to see. Definitely got the crowd to their feet.
So key features that the judges are thinking about is that tiny little flat drop flip off the first feature. The backflip triple bar spin. Score coming up, Pat.
An 80.6, only good enough for 8th. Even with all that improvement, it just shows how difficult it is to crack to that top 3 spot. Do you agree with the numbers? Obviously a hard thing to do, but in terms of what he put out, the variety, what he brought in that run.
I'd really have to go and look at who's in 7th and 6th right now and see what their runs were. It's always so much easier to analyze this afterwards. And right now, we're looking at this guy right here, Nikolai Rogatkin.
And if you think for a moment these guys don't put in the time to learn these tricks, this was earlier in the week, Gatkin trying to dial in the trick. And you can see, you miss it, what do? You get back on the bike. You get back up, and you get right back to the top, and you try it again.
You know, practice happens at home on your own time, but then practice also happens here. And to be able to adapt the trick that you've learned on your own terrain to a slopestyle course, it takes a couple tries. And so I'm hoping we're going to be able to see him have this ironed out enough to throw into his final run.
He found the podium in Rotorua. Can he do it here today?
Yes, it was perfect. The fast plant 360 tail whip drop, another first for mountain bike slopestyle. This is a revolutionary day for the sport here. And there's the fast plant 360 off the SRAM drop into the step up. That Cork 7 that he messed up before. Oh, again. Come on, you gotta be kidding me. Blowing out both tires this time.
And it's that jump. It has been his nemesis. He talked about the trajectory, the arc of it. So much disappointment, and you knew that he had a lot in store for himself and the fans.
He's absolutely devastated. You saw him head in hands right there. He wanted so badly to throw down his dream run.
His story arc is all about progression. At 11 years, 360 double whip, 12 years, backflip 360, 13 years old, was doing double backflips, and he's staying on that pace.
You know, that trick was so impressive. He has to drop a foot off the pedal to be able to fast plant, and then he literally took his other foot off so that his pedal was there where he needed it to be once he did that tail whip. And here's where everything went wrong. Again, almost a mirror image, carbon copy of what happened in the first run. We've got a slow-mo view of it. You know, looking back to earlier in the season, knowing his usual axis of rotation on that trick. He's usually a little bit more upside down. He didn't have the distance.
Oh.
He wasn't as upside down as usual, and seeing that tire explosion with the slow-mo, that is too cool.
So no chance for Nikolai Rogatkin to find the podium here at the final stop of the 2016 Crankworx Series. As we go right back to the top, and a lot of expectations for Anthony Messere. All or nothing approach, it's been relentless. That is the way he does it. Can he get it done?
Nose press bar spin, getting creative and technical off the first drop, a tail whip up the step up, pointing it down the hill. Off the SRAM drop, 360 bar spin, very smooth on the landing. Good execution. Wow, backflip bar spin to tuck no hander, bobbling the bars but recovering. And then a flat spin 360 table over the left hand hip. Flip whipping the first jump in the 4-pack, landing smooth. We've seen so many riders mess up that jump. Not Anthony Messere, he links it right into that front flip tuck no hander. So high, we know him for his amplitude. Big amplitude on that double tail whip. 360 up into the Joyride cabin whale tail. A backflip down, holding things together. Needs to stay high in this berm, Pat. A tail whip on the giant cannon over the skipper, just holding things straight.
Clean landing, here we go, backflip on the way up.
And a 360 down, can he hold on? Oh no! Oh man, he did everything except for that last jump.
Up to that point, Messere was locked in for some greatness. We talk about his reimagined, refined approach.
Well, take a look back up top. He bobbled on this backflip bar spin to tuck no hander, but corrected, showing that he's such a veteran who can keep his head focused on the task at hand. And you know, it was all so beautifully executed until that last drop. So front flip, tuck no hander. Everybody's having a hard time clearing that first jump in the 4-pack, and as a result, they're having a hard time on that second jump. But Anthony Messere just landing at the very top of that landing. Any shorter and he would have fallen, but he made it all the way to the last feature without falling until this. Man, front tire never even touched the ground.
It's such a razor's edge, you know. There was so much excitement, recognized as a mountain biking prodigy, and now really living up to all the hype as he grew up, and unfortunate on his second run because he was building off that 81.6. We knew that he had it in the tank, and just unfortunate for Anthony Messere. Obviously a little lack of Canadian mix-up, except for Brett Rheeder on the leaderboard as for the moment. Rheeder on top at 93, followed by Fredriksson, 89.8. And to crack into the top three, you got to better that 86.8 by Tomas Genon. You see Johansson just outside of that in fourth.
Well, Emil Johansson, without a doubt, already going to have a result he's very, very pleased with here, but he can improve. He's got an opportunity here. Opposite tail up on the first drop, regular tail up on the step up. You know, this is the greatest position you want to be in. A great run in the bag, sitting in fourth place, and an opportunity to better your score. Absolutely no pressure on this kid. Truck driver the drop, backflip, bar spin on the step up, huge amplitude. A downside double opposite tail up on the hip. His opposite direction, a backflip double tail whip. Landing it low, but somehow pushing through. Oh man, will he keep going? Not able to trick the second jump in the 4-pack, but getting a nice table on the hip. He's gonna roll this one through. I don't know if he will be able to improve, but he definitely has better tricks. But he missed some tricks on some features and getting some smaller tricks than he had in his first run. Yeah, he knows that first run is gonna be the score.
Well, as you pointed out, definitely can hold his head up high based on that first run of 2.
Yes, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? A double bar spin off the drop, not playing it safe. That's like the most dangerous thing you could do. He guided the second one around slow.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was the first time he tried it. And with that, he is welcomed with open arms into the brethren of Crankworx.
Not just welcomed into the finish corral, but welcomed into the mainstream of slopestyle mountain biking in general with a huge breakout performance here in Whistler. Look at the slow-mo version of this backflip double tail whip. This is a trick he's been doing at smaller events this year, so watching his first run, you know he still had that in the tank. Landing halfway down the landing and losing speed, that's where the train kind of fell off the tracks, but he still put on a great show for the crowd, throwing bar spins on every feature. And the thing that was really impressive to me was take note that he continued on tricking, and then this last drop right here, bar spin, catches it and slows down the second bar. So dangerous to do a bar spin off a flat drop in the wind, but just playing with fire right there, showing that he's going to be here for a long time.
So as anticipated, not an improvement on the second run of 2, but as we pointed out, he has officially added his name to the list of contenders, and you can expect great things out of him in 2017. But we move right back to the top, still yet more riders to take their second final runs. And a lot of excitement brewing for this run.
Ooh, Tomas Genon dropping in with an opposite 360 drop.
Currently in third place, trying to better that. A 93 is the score to beat. Can he do it?
You know, he has everything that it takes. I have no doubt in my mind he can do it. There we go, a 360 bar spin on the SRAM drop into the step up. A 360 bar spin to click table, getting variation with style. It looked like an opposite 360 one-footed table on that hip. Back flip bar spin to tuck no hander with great extension on the first jump of the 4-pack. The Crankworx 720 coming up short. Can he pump enough speed? He does, getting that.
Wow.
Wow, that is experience right there. Getting in the back seat, pumping speed, a double tail up the cabin, a 360 inverted table down. Tomas Genon is on a good one, Pat. Backflip tuck no hander on the giant cannon. What is he gonna do to improve here on the final feature? Opposite tail whip up to 360 tuck no hander down.
Wow.
So technical from top to bottom.
You got to ask the question, will there be a deduction for that slight casing? Was able to make up for it and push through, but how critical are the judges going to look at that?
You know, there's two different ways to look at it. Is it a mistake because you came up short, or is it a miraculous show of bike skill to actually get behind the back tire and pump speed and still get the trick you had planned on the feature afterward?
Well, you just made the question even more.
Well, that's the things that go through the mind of the judges.
Exactly.
So we had the backflip tuck no-hander, huge variation on the cannon, the bar spin on the skipper, opposite tail whip up into this very unique trick, which was the 360 tuck no-hander. Another look back at that backflip tuck no-hander, a trick that scores very well on a feature like a cannon log. So final feature, let's take a look at his unique choice of trick there, a 360 tuck no-hander, drawing influence from street BMX, but applying it to the slopestyle arena.
So the 2012 Joyride champ looking to better his first run, currently sitting in third place. There's one guy to beat, and that is none other than Brett Rheeder. Holding on to the 93, he will be our last rider to make the drop here in Whistler. Was it an improvement? He definitely added a lot more.
The double whip up the cabin was pretty notable. The extension on some of the stylish tricks like the tabletops.
And so the bullseye to the gentleman on the right. It sits squarely on his back. He's the leader with a 93. He's been in this situation with Tomas Genon before, and he's no stranger to the pressure. The last drop, here come the scores. Second run. Is it better than a 93? A 91, but he does jump up. Second place finish for Tomas Genon. It's official for him. He's secured that. Now,
Brett Rheeder, man.
Wow. So a sigh of relief. Brett Rheeder, after facing some difficulties with pressure last year, found that gear needed, and so it won't be a victory lap. As we pointed out, in terms of the overall Crankworx series, you're going to want to put together a run, but I think for Rheeder right now, it's such a sign.
Pat, he's not going to improve on a 93. This one is for the fans out here. His 93 will be added to his score from Rotorua, and we'll tabulate that in a minute to find out who's our Crankworx World Tour overall champion. But an opposite 360 one-footed Euro table, doing the tricks that he does for fun on his own time, tricks that maybe might not work for his run, but this is a display of style and grace from Brett Rheeder right now on his victory lap. The winner of Red Bull Joyride 2016, getting that monkey off of his back.
The one that has eluded him. Oh, Canada. The Canadian streak continues as yet another Canadian rider.
When that's a victory lap trick, you're on another level, man. Backflip, one-footed can in a victory lap for Brett Rheeder.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2016 Joyride champion, Brett Rheeder.
Oh my goodness, Pat! Like I'm emotional right now. I'm feeling so much for the kid. I've known him since he was first breaking on the scene. He used to come to my house and ride and practice, and he talked about this moment for so many years. He's been picturing it, and it actually happened. You know, a self-fulfilling prophecy. He'd been working so hard, and look at that moment, just basking in the glory.
The revelry is alive and well here in Whistler Village. You can see fans at their feet as Brett Rheeder enjoying the moment. Let's check in with Tina Dixon, who's with our champ.
Well, Brett, you've had a 4th, you've had a 2nd, and you've had a 16th here in Whistler, but today it was your day. How would you describe this moment knowing you just won Red Bull Joyride?
I don't know, lost for words once again. This has been a tough one over the years. Not like the other contests. You know, it's steep and there's lots of features and lots of crowd and pressure, and I feel amazing.
This year, without the pressure of the Triple Crown, were you able to just really focus on your own line and just tune everyone out?
Yeah, I was. Like I still had some like self-conflicting pressure, but I mean I didn't have that Triple Crown, and you know, hearing the media talk about it and all that. So this year was just on myself, and you know, I was at the top. You know, thinking about all the times that I was riding in the hot Ontario weather and Kelowna weather, practicing for this, and you know, I just dropped in and did my thing, and it ended up working out.
It ended up working out, and not only did you win this event, but you are the overall Crankworx Slopestyle champion with your result from Rotorua. So just some icing on the cake.
Oh my God, that's so amazing. We're missing Kelly out here, Stevie Smith. I gotta say, it's not the same without them here. I want to say thanks to the Joyride crew too for making a beautiful course, and yeah, thanks.
Well, you put together a beautiful run. Congratulations, Brett.
Yeah.
Guys.
Thanks, Tina. Just the consummate professional and the understatement of the year. Yeah, I just came and did my thing. Well, if your thing is what he laid down in run number 1, then you've got a special thing going. He just added his name to that list of illustrious, you know, just talented, amazing riders as we look at the final results, and interesting Swedish development in the 4th and 3rd spot. Emil Johansson rounds out just the top 4, but notable mention, Max Fredriksson, Tomas Genon in 2nd, and Brett Rheeder with the win. As we look at the rest of our top 16 finalists, it was a challenging field, it was a challenging course. And Cam, your thoughts now that you've had to have a little bit of time to let it digest, if you will?
You know, this event every year, it always changes the face of slopestyle mountain biking, and this year was no exception. I love hearing Brett Rheeder talk about a little bit about what goes into getting on the level where you can win here, talking about practice sessions alone in the heat. And people just see the 2 contest runs. They don't see everything that goes into it. And that is years and years in the making. It's a monkey that's been grasping firmly on his back. He bucked that monkey off. He won Red Bull Joyride. He's won pretty much everything else there is to win, and finally won, you know, the pinnacle of the sport here. So proud of that kid.
And the coolest thing, how we can build off this excitement. We talked about it earlier. This time of year is special because now we get to look forward to one of the most special events in the history of the sport, none other than Red Bull Rampage.
For some, it's the most terrifying thing in the world. Its raw potential can get inside your head and eat away at you. For any artist, it's said there's nothing scarier than a blank canvas. But starting from nothing is essential. Essential in shattering the shackles of the past and stepping into the future.
Oh, going so deep. Oh! Front flip. Cam Zinc. And he flips it. Oh yes, mark it on your calendars. Coming October, we will be there, and we look forward to it.
It's one thing after another. I mean, doesn't get any cooler than this, and then we have that on the horizon. Too exciting.
Oh, such goodness. As we look again at the final overall results for the Crankworx Series, and Brett Rheeder, based on his placing in Rotorua and the 93 he got here today, the top spot, Tomas Genon in second, and Max Fredriksson, by getting that third overall, he's just solidifying his place in the sport.
That's right. He has completely arrived. Like so many riders have stapled themselves into being, just fixtures on the scene right now. Max Fredriksson, obviously one of those riders. One thing that stands out when you look at this leaderboard, look at the tiny little gap between first and second. Brett Rheeder did it by 4 points. Very impressive.
And surprising to see Rogatkin and Semenuk. We expect more out of them. Unfortunate for them, couldn't put it together. It is now time, as we see the fans now starting to filter down off the course, getting now down into the village, as we are about to hand out the hardware here for the 2016 Crankworx Series Joyride. So as you can see, everyone making their way down into the arena. As you can see, you can just imagine how packed for space right now. We're at maximum capacity. We have been all week, as we send it down to Brad J to hand out the hardware. Take it away, Brad.
And it's time to hand out the hardware, our awards for your Red Bull Joyride 2016. In third place, in his first ever appearance here at the Red Bull Joyride, claiming the bronze medal from Sweden. Let's get loud with an 89.8 for Max Fredriksson! And in second place, first place in 2012, busting a 91.2 from Belgium. Let's hear it for Tommy G, Tomas Genon! And the gold medal for your Red Bull Joyride Whistler. His first ever win in Whistler with a 93 from Canada. Let's hear it for Brett Rheeder!
So, an incredible moment that Brett Rheeder has been working towards for quite some time. Definitely at this point you can say it slightly overshadows all his other accomplishments, because he's wanted this one just a little extra.
It just means so much more than any other event. And, it's the one that has eluded so many professional athletes in the sport. Many riders have finished their career without tasting glory here. And, Brett, he's obviously got a huge career ahead of him. It's great to get this monkey off his back now, and now he can start trying to beat, Brandon's overall 4. He obviously has what it takes to be, around in this sport for a really long time, and this may be just one of many.
Yeah, the rivalries are there, but notable mention, the depth of new young talent that we saw here today. So promising. An incredible celebratory moment for our riders finding their way to the podium. And we want to remind everyone, mountain biking will continue on in 2 weeks. The UCI Mountain Bike World Cup season finals will be live on Red Bull TV. Aaron Gwynn on the cusp to seize the overall trophy. But back-to-back winner Danny Hart is on the heels. For the women, Rachel Atherton has already secured the title, but sits in the precipice for a historic, perfect season. So we look forward to that as we look at our top 3 finishers. of Red Bull Joyride here for Crankworx 2016. What an incredible day. We didn't see it happening the way it unfolded, but for Brett Rheeder, it unfolded perfectly. History in the making. He definitely tapped into that flawless style that he's known for, but brought a lot of new progression to the table, and that's exactly what he needed to break that 90 mark and set a heavy tone that no one could eclipse. Notable mention, Tomas Genon in second and Max Fredriksson, the Swede, in third. So as we shift gears and look forward to Rampage coming up in October, we mentioned the UCI event in 2 weeks. So much on the mountain biking menu as the fans filter into the village, and you can imagine the partying is going to be going into the late hours here tonight. It's been an incredible day of competition, and congratulations to all the riders that made their way here and competed at such a high level. On behalf of Tina Dixon, Cam McCall, and our great team at Boombox, I'm Pat Parnell. We look forward to seeing you come October at the Red Bull Rampage.